Yeah, we about to go live.
That's all right. No, you ain't slow
Act
dancing.
like you got them skate. Act 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 like you got them skate. Go live, I'm finna go live. 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 Go live, I'm finna go live.
What's up? What's up? What's up, Kane Nation? We already got 31 in the building. Let me know everything looks good, sounds good. We already got people jumping in this thing. We got D. Roberts says, Coach, what's going on with you, D? Fresh says, UCLA transfer portal linebacker. We'll talk about it. Let's see what that's all about. Coke Dog, what they do, Coach? What they do, man? Glad to see you in the building. Mr. JR, Coach Me, Coach. That's right, man. If y'all don't know about the Coach Me, Coach podcast, we got that going as well with my man Dom Smith. Let me know everything sounds good. I need a thumbs up in the building. Make sure everything is good before I get started because Coach known to be talking all the time and the sound will be coming through. So let me know what's going on. I need a quick thumbs up in the building before we get this thing rocking and rolling. And we're going to break down a couple of things here. Come on, talk to me, somebody. Give me the thumbs up right quick. All right, there we go. We got a bunch of it. Here it is. All right. D. Roberts says, Carol City Kane in the building. I feel you, man. Coach Dog with the zoo. Autism awareness for life, man. I appreciate it. For those that don't know, that's what I actually do for a living, man. I teach kids with learning disabilities. So big shout out to you, Autism Awareness for Life. That's huge right there. And I've been thinking about doing some stuff for autism on this channel. So I'll definitely get into it. Maybe I may reach out to you, Autism, and see if you got some ideas as well. Orange and Green Blood, what's good? Coach, I ain't seen you in a while. Where you been? FTW, what up, what up? There it is. All right, I got the thumbs up in the building. Let's get this game. Mr. JR, Cane Juice or no? Come on, man. Cut it out. And I got my red cup, man. I literally just got off the highway, just got back from the crib. I only been home about, I don't know, maybe an hour, I guess. I might be embellishing a little bit, but I just got off the road. So I popped this thing on because, you know, we got to do our 6:30 every Sunday, man. We didn't do it last Sunday because I was down at the crib, so it is what it is. Anwar, what's up with you in the building? Let me see. Anwar, here you go. What's good, Coach? What's going on? Trying to give people a little bit of time to get in. 51 currently online with us, the End Zone crew, East End Zone crew. I'm telling you, I got to get down on some of these home games this year, but it'd be hard because I be wanting to be online and talk to my people, man, because, you know, everybody can't make it to the game. So, Mr. J, you a coach? What do you say? You a coach? Yeah, I'm a coach. There it is. All right. I got to cut this phone off. All right, so here we go. Before I get started, let me give a big shout out to our sponsor for the day, Mr. Alex Tabio from Certified Home Loans. You can see right here. I'm getting better at this, as you can tell. If you have anything to do with home financing, please give him a call. As we know, things are a little bit crazy. Gas is out of control, but the guy has programs, and it's worth a free phone call. Hit him up. He always answers the phone. A big-time Kane fan. Also, for my Kane fans or any other listeners out there, if you're in the state of Florida, he's certified throughout the state of Florida, but I believe this program is nationwide. For our entrepreneurs out there, if you are an entrepreneur and you deal in cash, for example, barbers, maybe people in hair salon, maybe lawn care companies who deal with a lot of cash and don't necessarily have a pay stub, sometimes that holds you back in buying homes or rental properties or investment properties, hit him up. He has a very aggressive program to help you out in that. 305-205-1697 as well. His information is in the description below. Make sure you check him out. And just like I say, hit him up. It's a free phone call. It is not the phone number to the show. It is the phone number that you see popping up on the screen, 305-205-1697. A lot of people think his phone number is the phone number to the show, so they call in. All right, but he still answers the phone, right? And he still will talk to you. So anyway, we ready to rock and roll. We're going to break down a couple of things. Big shout out to Kane Sport, Gary Furman, who gave me the permission to use their footage on Josh Gattis and Kevin Steele. I want to kind of deconstruct from a coach's perspective what they talked about after those first 3 days of practice. You know, they went on the spring break. They're going to come back, I believe, starting tomorrow and finish out the spring ball. So I want to kind of talk about it. A lot of times we hear what coaches say on the surface, but I want to kind of break down what they're actually talking about in that thing, man. So we're going to get this thing started. I already got 57 in the building. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Also, if you want to donate, you're more than welcome to do the super chat, but you can also use, as you see it scrolling, Lord, I mess it up all the time, down here. You can use either Cash App or PayPal. The link for the PayPal is in the description. And for the Cash App, it is the $ Coach Hayes Football. Make sure you put Coach Hayes Football. I heard there's somebody out there that has Coach Hayes with a black and white picture. Looks kind of similar. So somebody trying to stick me for my paper. Damn. Why they trying to stick me for my paper? Anyway, let's make this thing happen, man. We're going to talk about this too, the clinic. All right, Coach, what you think about Mario, Coach Clinic, I guess with all the 8 coaches, supposed to be clinic. I'm going to talk about that, but I want to break this piece down, and I'll get back to that. But we also have breaking news, I guess, as well. Andy Jean from Miami Northwestern has decommitted from the University of Miami, the wide receiver, had decommitted from the University of Miami. And, I mean, it's a whole nother show. We could talk about that when we get to the call-in portion. If you guys want to talk about that, we definitely can. But that's why I don't like these players committing early, and I don't like the coaches putting pressure on these players and families to commit early. It's so much pressure out there, so many things they haven't seen. You know, everything looks good at the beginning, and then somebody else comes along. Let these guys enjoy this process, right? And the cream going to rise to the top. If you are the better program, they're going to still gravitate to you. I don't care how much fun they had at another university. They had fun at your university as well, but when they actually sit down with their family and their parents and whomever may be advising them, they'll make that right decision. So we'll definitely talk about that and all of that. Fred Langston says, yo, Coach Hayes, don't sugarcoat nothing. Rip that Band-Aid off. Hold up, man. Rip that thing off, but I'm definitely going to get into it. Let's talk about the you got a WRE linebacker, Malik Bryant. Yeah, he's from up this way, man, Jones High School as well. We're going to do that. The WREs are coming. You know, Coach got a life too. I had to take care of some things here in the month of March, man. Big shout out to my mom who just had her birthday on Saturday, right? Just turned 21 plus some. You know what I mean? So big shout out to my mother. Y'all go ahead and give her a thumbs up in the chat for a happy birthday. We had a great time down there at the crib. Had fun, family, and everybody else. And also a big shout out to my man with the $5 donation. Sean Rounds, $5. Appreciate it. Says Coach Hayes, my guy, Heavy D and the boys looking boy. Hey, what? Hey, why you do me like that, Sean? Why you do Heavy D and the boy looking boy? Hey, don't make me get up and dance because Heavy D was a big dude, but he was light on his feet, man. Don't make me do that, man. Anyway, let's get this thing rocking, man. We currently got 80 in the building. We're going to have a good time with this today. I want to deconstruct this piece, and I'm going to talk about it. So let's go ahead and get this thing going real quick. And as well, before I get started, remember, we also started another podcast called the Coach Me Coach podcast, where we talk about other aspects and other teams in college football. I know y'all some Cane fans, but guess what? In order to beat your enemy, you have to be your enemy, right? And you have to learn who that enemy is. So let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about come on to check us out over there. And my man Dom Smith. Yeah, I know he's an Ohio State Buckeye guy, but come on, guy. My man be spitting knowledge too, right? So we got to get it past that. I already told him, man, we owe him one. And when we get our chance, we're going to give it to him. You understand what I'm saying? Big shout out right there to D. Roberts says, Rip Jack Hosey. Yes, sir. Coach Jism, man, he stays in my heart every day. I actually got a picture of him right here with that Norland helmet. You probably can't see it, but he's inside that Norland helmet, man. So big shout out to Coach Jack Hosley, a.k.a. Coach Jism in the building. All right, let's get this thing rolling. I have Josh Gattis queued up first, and we're going to kind of talk about it. But before I do, we got another $5. While I'm doing this, if donations come, I'm going to get them when they get on the back end because I don't want to kind of interrupt that piece. But I'm going to get you before I get going. You my boy. Hope you end up going full-time with this. I support you, fam. Always watching you clown with my guy, Streeter. I appreciate it, man. Hey, that's the goal. We're trying to get this thing full-time. That's why we're trying to add more things to the Coach Hayes Football Network. You know, I don't call it a channel. I call it a network because we're going to add more shows and do more things. I think we're going to have something really interesting coming up come towards the summertime, man. We're going to do some real in-depth things coming up. But I could talk forever. Let's get this thing rocking with Josh Gattis here in the building. So this is his interview. Kane Sport allowed us to use their footage. So I appreciate that from you, Gary. We're going to use this footage, and we're going to kind of talk about what he had to say in regards to the Canes' first practices.
What's your first impression when you see what you have? Our first impression right now is just to establish the culture that we need to, practice at a very high level. You guys seen kind of the end of practice, how it goes. It's all about intensity, effort, execution, fundamentals. And so right now, that's what we're just trying to establish. If we can establish the culture, that'll carry over into the season and allow us to be the team we need to be. But we still got a ton of work to do, and we're working hard. And that's the thing I do appreciate our guys. They've been very coachable. They're really taking on a lot, just learning how to practice the way that we want to practice. And so I've been pleased so far, but we still got a long way to go.
All right, real quick before we go to the next question, what he's saying right there is huge. In those spring practices, especially when you have a new coaching staff, especially when you have a new coordinator, everything has changed at the U, right? So these guys have had conversations in these meetings, right? But it's different when it's live, right? You could talk about what we want. We could do all this. Hey, guys, no walking in practice. Everybody need to be running. And I've already heard the story. I think Coach Cristobal stopped practice and made everybody run back or whatever the case may be because they weren't running. And I know he used to do that at FIU as well. When I coached with him at FIU, that was something he had done. But I know he definitely got that or enhanced that part when he was at Alabama, right? Now, here's the key. This gentleman was also at Alabama, so he understands that as well. And Kevin Steele is going to say something very big when I get to his part about them having come from under the same tree. But what's important is, like he said, he's talking about creating a culture. And what he's meaning is how to practice, like he said, what we expect, going full speed, no reps off, no playing around. And remember, these are still young men. So they are carrying over what they did with the Manny Diaz era, right? Some of these guys still think, all coaches the same. So they're carrying that over. These guys may do something totally different. And from what I've been hearing from guys like Streeter and X and those guys who've been going to the practices, it looks and feels totally different. And that's what he means by creating a culture, how to practice, what they want, the intensity, all of that good stuff, right? Real quick story. I was going to a camp in Alabama. I remember they had already started. We get off the plane. I don't know, a GA or somebody takes us there. As soon as we get into the indoor facility, they blow the whistle. Everybody running, right? They call it a Chinese fire drill. It's like everybody just running. And here's the funny thing about it. From the water girls to the athletic training staff, anybody on that grass is running. I don't care if you're right there in your spot. You're running in place until that second whistle blows. And I guarantee that's how I haven't been to their practices, but I guarantee those practices are running like that. That's part of the culture, creating that sense of urgency, right? That I have to hurry up and be where I'm supposed to be, knowing when your name is called amongst a lot of chaos because everybody's screaming and yelling and this, that, and the other. It's the same way in the game, right? The fans are cheering. You got 100,000. Hopefully we're going to have it, 70-something in the Hard Rock. You know what I mean? We're going to have 70-some thousand people screaming. You're going to have the band playing. We're going to play Bethune-Cookman, so they're going to bring the real band, and that's playing and all that good stuff. So that's what he's talking about in this piece.
Talk a little bit about the process you're going through installing a new offense and how much you hope to get done in spring.
Yeah, it's a completely new offense for everyone learning-wise, concept-wise, what we're asking them to do, even for the quarterback. And so we've got great teachers. First, our offensive coaches have done a tremendous job teaching our system so far. And that's the thing that I really feel blessed about is to have the offensive staff that we have, the chemistry, the camaraderie that we have in that room. We got great teachers, great developers. And so our kids are open to learning. So we're asking them to learn new things. But most importantly, spring is about development. So it's about learning the hows and the whys, the footwork, the fundamentals, the technique and details to allow them to be successful in the fall.
So how much can you get installed over the course of the spring?
The spring is about creating two things, right? Mentality and identity. Right now, our effort and how we practice creates our mentality. What we do on offense will be our identity. We're taking a little bit slower path as far as creating the identity of our offense. And we're going to build it around, what our players do best. And so this spring is going to give us a good evaluation to figure out what they do best. We're installing the offense this spring, but what we look like in the fall could be completely different once we get through 7 or 8 practices and really grasp what our players do best.
All right, he said a mouthful right there, right? So I think that was Gary Furman who asked him a question about installs and things. And he said there's 2 things we want to install: mentality and identity. Again, we know we had a mentality issue with maybe not finishing, right? Well, defensively tackling, offensively, maybe offensive line wise, maybe not being very aggressive, dropping those balls, having a tough mentality. So he brought in a lot right there. Okay. Also, remember this, fan base. These guys are always going to be positive. They're never going to come out here and bash a young man. They're never going to come out here. They're going to spin everything to be positive. Even if it's something negative, they're going to spin the positive piece out of whether it's 10% of it is positive. That's all they're going to talk about. But when you listen to these, sometimes you have to listen to the things they don't say. Okay. And what he said was, we're going to take our time to create our identity. That's huge right there. That's telling me right now, they kind of know what they have, but they don't know what they have technically on the field. They know what they look like. They know they're strong. They know who's fast. They know who can move. They know who can catch. How do those things come together to create an offensive identity? Will they be run heavy? Will they be a team that throws it around the yard? Can they stretch the field, right? So you can have all the fastest guys in the world, but if they're consistently dropping the ball, why are we consistently throwing it down the field when your run game is better, right? So what he's saying is we're going to take our time, slow it down. All right, we're going to slow it down, and we're going to find out what we have. And what he said was key. After about our 6th or 7th or 8th practice, then we may have to readjust it. So right now they're going on really what they've seen on tape last year. As they get into practice and these players start grasping the concept of the offense and of what they want philosophically, they may have to alter this a little bit. All right. So what you see today is what you're not going to see tomorrow. That's huge right there. All right. That's huge right there. So again, it may be a thing where he's looking at the offensive line. He may be looking at the receivers. He may be looking at Tyler Van Dyke. He may be looking at the running back room, which I think is going to be huge for us as Miami Hurricane fan base. All right. And just as a team in general, I think our running back room is second to none when it comes to the potential talent that we have. And when I say potential, the word potential simply means you have not done it yet. All right. We know what Rooster has. We know what Chaney has, right? But he has an injury bug in him. Can he sustain it? Are they going to pitch count him? Meaning, if you have guys who have injury bugs, but they're very productive, don't run them to death when you got 4 or 5 guys deep. Now, it may be hard to get to that 4th or 5th guy. You understand what I'm saying? It may be hard to get to that 4th or 5th guy. But they have them in the stable if they need so. So that's huge what he said. We're going to take our time, identity-wise, being what we're going to be, and we're going to see that. Also, from the install standpoint, it's going to be very vanilla come, I think, April 16th. You're not going to see a lot. They want to see what the mentality is. So if you go in there with 5 plays, I don't care if the defense knows what the 5 plays are, right? You're not necessarily trying to win the spring game. You're trying to make an identity and the mentality for your offense, right? They may throw a trick play in there here or there, but they're going to have a gap scheme to the left, that same play to the right, all right? They're going to have all those different things. Everybody keeps saying my birthday. Not my birthday. My mama's birthday was on the 20th. So I appreciate y'all, but it's the old girl birthday, man. So I see y'all keep putting it at Utah. What's up with you, D? All right. So no, it's not my birthday. I was saying I celebrated my mom's birthday on Saturday. So y'all give her a thumbs up for the OG in the building. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So vanilla is going to be probably very vanilla this spring when it comes offensively. You'll see some shots down. You'll see some guys working some different concepts, some spacing concepts, those type of things, some curl flat concepts and that kind of stuff. Let's go into the next piece.
Will Mallory said he feels confident he and the other tight ends are going to be involved in the offense. Can you say a little bit about the tight ends in your scheme, and also Will in particular, and Royal? Yeah,
I feel very confident they're going to be involved definitely. When you look at Will, I think Will has the ability to be a special player in this league. He can do a lot, not just in the run game, in the pass game, as well as in pass protection. And so That tight end room has been recruited really well. Coach Field has done a great job, developing those guys, recruiting those guys. You got a Royal, and obviously you bring in a freshman as talented as Jaleel Skinner, and so we got some bodies. That is an impressive looking group in that tight end room, and so we got to put it all together, find all the pieces that we need offensively. But I will tell you this: they will be a big factor in what we do. And the tight end position for us is like the Swiss Army knife, because we're asking those guys to do so much for us, and we're going to develop the complete tight end. And I think that's the thing that'll be a little bit different, is asking those guys to be involved in the run game as much as in the pass game.
And
all right, real quick, he said something huge here about Will Mallory. Everybody knows that Will Mallory had some blocking issues. I really had an issue with the blocking part. He does a great job catching, right? But that's part of his job as a tight end or even a receiver. You got to be able to block. You got to be able to block these guys. Here's what he said that's big. This is what I said. They're going to always say something positive. And it's not necessarily a negative, but he was careful with his words. He said, Will Mallory has the ability to be special in this game. He didn't say he is special. He has the ability. And that ability means he possesses it, but he's got to turn it up. He's got to turn up the blocking part of it. All right. That's why he used the word the ability to be special. Okay. And he said they're going to be a big part in this game. I heard some people talking about 12 personnel. And for people that does not know what 12 personnel means, that's just kind of code word for the first number represents the amount of running backs. The second number represents the amount of tight ends. Okay. So 12 personnel, you hear sometimes 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end. Well, I've heard some people tell me, we'll be running a double tight set. There may be some of that as the installs go in. I don't think that'll be our primary base on an offense. But imagine if you do have a Will Mallory out there and an Elijah Arroyo, okay, or maybe even a Jaleel Skinner. And then you have 2 speedsters. You have your speedsters out there, or your stretch the field guys and Keyshawn Smith, right? And maybe even Jacoby George. And then you got you could take your pick back there when it comes to running backs. You know what I mean? Or you even put Brashard Smith back there and then you motion him out. And now you got an empty backfield with 2 tight ends. That's tough. So there's a lot of things that can be done in that sense. All right. So that's huge what he said when it came to the tight end position. And you're talking about Will Mallory.
Getting out here, getting to see Tyler, Jake, and Jakari kind of work in person. What have you thought of those 3 quarterbacks?
Yeah, they work extremely hard. They always got a positive attitude. They got great leadership. I saw those guys compete all winter conditioning through our 4th quarter program, just competing in everything that they can do. And so, that's first and foremost that you want out of your quarterback position. You want those guys to be leaders because everyone else is going to follow their leadership. And so they've done a tremendous job. Coach Ponce has done a really good job, coaching those guys and developing them. And I think that's unique. I love the situation that we have when you have a coordinator and a quarterback coach, because you have someone full-time designated to develop in that position. And so, you won't pass Coach Ponce's office, and those guys are always sitting in there learning the offense, learning quarterback fundamentals. And that's the whole key, is how can we develop those guys individually to be the best quarterback they could possibly be.
And how does it?
All right. Talking about quarterback, TVD, Jake Garcia, and the young Jakari Brown just coming in early, talking about their competitiveness, which is huge, right? That's what you want to see out of your quarterbacks. He mentioned leadership, okay? But he didn't really go in depth about leadership. He didn't give any examples, right? He talked about them competing, but didn't really give a lot of examples in regards to, and again, he may just not have thought about it. This is just me from a coach's perspective looking at this, kind of deconstructing this. So they're leading right now physically. He didn't mention anything about verbally, right? Because sometimes we want our quarterbacks to be verbal motivators, right? Come on, guys, finish the drill, blah, blah, blah. He didn't mention that stuff. You understand? So they may not be doing that just yet. They may be showing that, yeah, they're going to compete. But right now it's early, and that's okay. They're trying to figure it out themselves. They're trying to figure out right now, before I can get the team straight, I got to get myself straight in this very competitive quarterback room. You understand? I still think TVD has the hand up when it comes to being a starter, just because he has time on task from last year. You understand what I'm saying? When it comes to Jake Garcia, very, very, very good quarterback, and I think he'll do extremely well, but his time has to come, and I believe he'll definitely get some time this season. All right. And then Jakari Brown, very young, You know, if we get to the point where we busting cats' heads wide open 40-something, he'll definitely get some touches on the field, especially with the 4 games they can play without burning a red shirt. I definitely look to see Jakari Brown early in a Bethune-Cookman, even a Southern Miss game, maybe even a Middle Tennessee game. I would love to see him early to see what he can do. And they'll package those guys down to help them be successful and be efficient. But that's big right there. Frank Ponce being the quarterback coach. This is huge. They're always in his office learning. And that should not just be quarterbacks. That should be all positions. That should be all positions. They should be hounding those dudes. Because what college coaches, pro coaches want, they want their guys to remain in the building as much as possible. As long as you're around something, you eventually pick up something. You understand? I remember, I may be off, but I remember, I believe it was Tracy Howard did an interview with Streeter on Footballville. And he was talking about when he was at Miramar and they used to have the game tape just playing. And he looked up and he looked at it and he saw that play, right? Wasn't anything a coach was teaching. He just saw that play. And when he went on the football field, he recognized that and he ended up getting a pick. That's why they want guys in. You can pick up tidbits from anywhere as long as you're in the facility. When you're in your dorm room, man, trust me, them dudes playing PlayStation, Call of Duty, or whatever they do now. You know what I mean? Coach a little too old for all that. But that's why they want those guys. So if you're a player, son of a player, keep them in that facility as much as possible. Ask as many questions as you can. Stay in the film room and all of that kind of stuff. So that's him when he talks about the quarterbacks.
How does Jakari look, compared to other, first semester freshmen that you've worked with?
Well, it's you got to remember he's a first semester freshman, so there's a lot on his plate. Up until probably about a few weeks ago, he just figured out where to go to class. And so now you're talking about learning a new system, learning a new offense. Obviously, he's got some talent physically. You look at him and he's such a great kid. Always got a smile on his face. He's got a great posture and body, and he's learning. He's doing a really good job. The hard thing in the spring is when you're going. We don't have as much depth from a team standpoint, so we have very little reps right now that are going to the 3s or to the 4s. And so, when you do have a Jake and a Tyler, you're trying to compete. You're trying to split as many reps as you can up for those guys. And so Jakari's doing a great job just buying in, taking the middle reps. If you look out there in the team reps, he's always 5 yards behind the starter, taking those reps as they go so he can continue to learn.
All right, real quick about Jakari. Notice, right, he always kept it positive. Really not a negative. Bro, this is his 3rd college practice. And remember, they're not teaching a bunch. They're teaching them mentality. They're teaching them what they want to do so far as identity. So Jakari, like he said, is not that many reps. They're getting split between TVD and Garcia. So, but the smart thing Jakari Brown is doing, he just said it. He's 5 yards behind catching mental notes. And that's what quarterbacks, especially true freshmen, think about it. This dude's been in college less than 6 months. This is 3rd practice. Or maybe at this date, maybe it was his 2nd practice. He's still out here looking at the big lights like, man, I'm actually here in college. You know what I mean? So that's huge right there. That's huge for him. Again, he said he has all the tools. Never mentioned any of his throws. Didn't mention any of his completions. But that's okay. It's his 3rd practice. Okay? He may have skipped some off the dirt. I don't know. But I know one thing, physically, he's impressive, okay? So far as body type and everything, when you see him out there, physically, he's an impressive-looking young man, and he'll be fine. So I like that. To the reporter who asked a question, I don't know who it was. I can't say it was an unfair question, but it was a question that Josh Gattis truly can't answer at this moment. He did a good job, being a coach, but he can't truly answer that question because there's really not enough data to give him. I mean, it's 3 days, not enough time on task to say, hey, he did this, that, and the other.
Last question. You've been really deep in the playoffs last year, faced the national champ. Did you learn anything from that experience that you could bring to the University of Miami?
Yeah, just it was really kind of about the recruiting game, taking the middle reps. If you look,
so I missed the question, so I got to replay it. I'm sorry.
Out there in the team reps, he's always 5 yards behind. He can continue.
Last year, faced the national deep in the playoffs last year, faced the national champ. Did you learn anything from that experience that you could bring to the University of Miami?
Yeah, just it was really kind of about the recruiting model. Because I thought last year, the place that we were at, we had a very, very talented roster offensively and defensively. And then, once we got into, league play, it's kind of looked a little bit different in the playoffs. And so, and that's about recruitment, recruiting size, recruiting speed. I think it comes to no surprise when you see those guys from Georgia, what they did at the combine, the type of players and the type of talent that they had. And, this is a very unique place because at the University of Miami, we can recruit like that too. We have the best football within a 15-mile radius here, and we've got to do a great job keeping the best players here at home. And so that was the key thing that we learned. And when you look at it, how many guys from South Florida that have been on those teams, or those national championship teams, whether that's Georgia or whether that's Alabama, we've got to take great pride in trying to keep those guys here at the University of Miami.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, real quick, let me go ahead and pop myself back on here. So that was interesting. That was Streeter, man. He asked him, I don't know if you guys can hear it. He asked him about, you guys had a deep run, get into the playoffs. What was the difference? And Josh Gattis says, it looked a lot different when we got into the playoffs, right? We talking about size difference, right? And he said it comes down to recruiting. As he said, when you look at Georgia, look what they did, even in the combine. Those are some, Jordan Davis, 341, 6'6", 341 pounds, ran a 4.7. Bruh, that's stupid. Like, that church is chicken for real, boy. They say it has steroids in it. They ain't lying. So it was a great question, and it showed Gattis saying, look, we got through the Big Ten. We did that stuff. But when it came to SEC play, and I'm even say some schools in the ACC with the Southeastern talent and prospects, it's different. And then he also said, look at those guys. We have them right here within a 15-mile, maybe a 30-mile, 45-mile radius. I got to give my West Palm Beach people some love. But we have those guys. We got to keep them here. Then we become those teams. When we start losing that talent, right, then we became an average team. Just have to call a spade because we lost the dogs. You understand? Those dogs start getting out the yard and going playing in somebody else's yard. But if you look at it, like I say, Alabama, their whole backfield was nothing but people from South Florida. You look at Georgia, right? South Florida kid. So those type of things, man, are huge when it comes to keeping our guys in here. And so he brought up a very valid point, and I'm glad he had a chance as a coach to really see the difference, because now when he goes on the recruiting trail, he's going to look at cats just a little bit different. So when you go to places like Michigan, and when he was at Penn State, he was like, man, these some big-time players. But then he went over to Alabama. I was like, these are really big-time players, right? But the thing was, he was on that side of the fence. Now when he coaches against that, he really gets to see the difference. So I appreciate the fact he had an opportunity to go through that on both sides of that, right? Recruiting those guys and bringing them into places like Alabama, but then also having to coach against those guys and go to say, you know what? Sometimes it ain't about X's and O's. It's about Jimmy's and Joe's. So that's good, man. All right. Real quick, we're going to jump on to Kevin Steele, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines. I like Kevin Steele a lot. I really do. So keep your questions. I see a lot of guys jumping things in here. Big Jordans from Charlotte. Yes, I got you. I understand. But we're just talking about big bodies and those big type of bodies doing that and doing those type of things. You look at a guy that's at Clemson right now. Oh, my God, Tyler. Oh, my God, what's Tyler's last name? He whooped my behind in high school. Well, not mine. I was coaching against him. Tyler Davis. Come on, Hayes, tighten up. At Clemson. You know what I mean? So those kind of guys. Imagine we would have had him at DU. That kind of stuff. All right. Let's talk. Let's go break down Kevin Steele, and then I'll open up the phone lines, and then we can talk about it. Let me see here. Let me pop through a couple of these. We got 188. Got 188 in the building. I appreciate it. Guys, we need at least 100 likes in the building. All right, dog. My breath must think. Well, we dropped to 185. Well, somebody must got smell-o-vision. Big shout out to Arroyo. I think you said that's his dad. This is the father. So I appreciate it. Latson Jr., SEC type wide receiver, 205. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And Jeffrey O'Neill with a $5 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. John Doe, breaking news. The Carolina Panthers have acquired Jalen Hurts from Philadelphia. All right, we'll definitely get into that. Let me get those guys they love for those donations. I appreciate it. And then we'll jump onto the defensive side of this deal. All right, Terrence Jenkins, what's happening with you? Orange and Green. Junior, what's good, my brother? Good to see you in here, bro. All right, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Let's make it happen.
Being in the corner, getting ready to be shot in dang foreign countries.
It's not
Real quick, now this is an old school dude, all right? And he's going to keep it positive, but he's also going to say some things in here too that's really, really good. And we'll break this down. We'll deconstruct this as well.
Y'all guys good?
It's not Auburn, coach.
Good to see y'all guys.
Hi, Kevin. I was going to ask you a couple things on linebackers. Your thoughts just from watching film and a couple days on Corey Flagg, the skill set he brings you,
Right.
and then your overall thoughts at that position. I know Coach Cristobal said you'll monitor it. Maybe you'll add more potentially players down the road at that position.
Well, I mean, what we've done in the first 3 days is we've put guys at positions that we thought was best for them and talking to them as coaching staff. And then through Coach Cristobal, we've moved some guys around, but it's stayed pretty stagnant for right now just because we're trying to teach them the concepts of the defense. You specifically asked about Corey. He's a guy that's got a lot of want to. He's got instincts, and so he's progressing along like the rest of them. They all are really, they bought in, but they're trying to conceptually get the understanding of the defense down and apply that to what they're seeing and then play at a high speed. And that takes time, but there's a lot of want to, a lot of will there. So we're in good shape in that regard. We got to keep working, keep practicing.
All right. So he talked about the linebacker crew. Everybody knows that I think we had some issues when it came to our linebacker play. I don't necessarily know if it's a talent issue. I don't know if it was a teaching issue. I don't know if it was a philosophical issue. I don't know if it was a schematic issue. But what I do know, there's an issue, okay? And what he's talking about right there is figuring it out. T2Y, what's up with you, man? Appreciate you. So what he said in there was big, right? We're bringing some things in, but when he brought up Corey Flagg, again, didn't say anything negative. He kind of kept it generic. He's coming along like the other guys. He's doing things, blah, blah, blah. He didn't really pinpoint anything in regards to Corey Flagg, okay? But again, it's only been 3 days. They're learning these players just like these players are learning them. So to his defense and to Corey Flagg's defense, they're not putting a lot of credit into what you see right now. It's a lot. You have to remember, they've been getting installs. They've been getting a lot of things, and a lot of things are going on. And usually those first 3 days of practice, like I said, I've never been in the military, but I've heard this analogy before, or this comparison. It's like the military, right? They just make it super crazy, and they want to see how well you can process information through chaos. Remember, they're teaching them how to practice. You got to know what drills you want. You have to remember when they were with Manny Diaz, and they went through that too. They knew the routine. This routine is very, very new to these players. So they may go from flex and stretch to special teams, where Manny Diaz went flex and stretch to individual. So again, these players have to now process this stuff, find out what's going on. So it's a lot of information being put out there. A lot of things are happening. It's high paced, high intensity, a lot of yelling, all that good stuff, but they have to find out who can perform under intense situations. You understand? So he talked about that. He talked about the install, learning the concepts. I love the fact he said that. He didn't say learning the plays. There's a huge difference in learning plays and learning concepts from a coach's perspective. If you're learning plays, that means you're trying to memorize. Bro, you can have 1,000 different plays because all 10 guys' positions, 10 guys' assignments are the same. One guy changes. Another play would be another guy changes. This happens. So that's 2 plays. Basically, everybody else does the same thing, but 2 guys change. So there's thousands of plays. But long as you know the concept and the foundation, the plays are simple, right? It's easy. My bad, excuse me. It's easy. It rolls right on through. So I love the fact you could tell this guy's been around. And this right here is what we were missing last year. Age, experience, right? In guys understanding that. Not just shooting out a bunch of plays. You understand? Here, I need you to learn these 55 plays. No. How about you learn these 2 concepts and we can make 55 plays out of that? That's huge. That's different. And that's what they need right there. And then he's going to talk about the camaraderie and Charlie Strong and so forth. But imagine him, Charlie Strong, been around a long time, all these different guys. That's the teaching that the Hurricanes need right there. And I guarantee with a guy like Charlie Strong in there, we're going to see a difference in our linebacker play and not have a lot of linebacker change so far as personnel wise. I totally believe that. I totally control chaos. Thank you very much, Battle.
In regards to Gilbert Fryers, I've noticed that in the last course of the few practices, he's played out in nickel and at linebacker as well. Is there a specific plan for him?
Well, Frierson is basically playing star, what we call nickel, which is the same thing as Sam. So it's really kind of hard from a layman to tell the difference in certain formations. Now, there are other formations where you will see that. But
I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to show my face. I've been saying that forever. When people get caught up in these numbers, oh, the 4-2-5, the 4-3, there's even and odd. And he just said it. Frierson is playing the nickel, the star position, as they call it. We used to call it the striker and the Sam. They look all the same in layman's, right? But they'll change based on different things that they're asking them to do. I've been saying that, guys. The star position is basically our nickel, all right? So, and you can't truly run a true 4-3 in today's football. It's too much speed out there. And the 4-3, you could call it a 4-3 if you want, but the body type you put out there is going to be a nickel. Now, if you want to call it a 4-3, be my guest. You want to call it a 4-2-5, be my guest. You want to call it whatever, be my guest. But at the end of the day, that young man is going to be responsible for three different things: coverage in man, coverage in zone, and blitzing, playing the run. All right. So that guy's that hybrid guy. You understand? That quote unquote Swiss Army knife, as Coach Gattis said about the tight ends. All right. Everybody has to understand that. There's not, again, football coaches, everybody want to get the guru patch. Everybody want to say they created something new. There's nothing new under the sun about football. There's nothing new under the sun about football. Okay. Some people just call it different things. That doesn't mean it's different. It's just a different name to it. You know what I mean? Some people say tomato. Some people say tomato. All right, let's get back into it.
because of the way we line it. So he's getting some snaps at tell the difference in certain formations. Now, there are other formations where you will see that, but because of the way we line it. So he's getting some snaps at Sam. He's a very bright guy. He has picked up things very fast, high energy guy. But like we said, all of us are in the same place. We're all new. We've all come together. We're still learning, what we want. They're learning from us what we want, and in terms of applying the concepts of the defense and being able to read things, communicate, all that kind of stuff. So he's really picked that part of it up pretty well. He can talk fast.
All right. Now here's the difference between Frierson and Flagg. He gave specifics on Frierson. See the difference in the conversation? He's talking about picking up concepts. He's talking about reading things. He's talking about that individual guy. He didn't lump him into generalities. He didn't pop him in. He's talking about this dude can play. He plays fast. This guy can do these things. That's huge right there for Frierson. You understand? That's big. And look at the smile. Look at the smirk on his face. Am I pointing the right way? Right? That's when coaches tell on themselves. Let me rewind it just a little bit. Watch the smirk.
Fast.
You see that? Let me go back a little bit. I'm sorry.
That kind of stuff. So he's really picked that part of it up pretty well. He can talk fast.
And he said he picked that part up well. He's talking about how fast, again, we talk about the mental piece. He's talking about how fast he's picking up these concepts. And that's big for that position because so many things happen, right? Some plays you're blitzing, some plays you're in coverage, some plays you're playing man. When they motion, who do you bump him off to? Do you carry him across the field? There's a lot of things that happen at that quote unquote star position, striker, Sam, nickel, whatever you want, Viper, Joker, whatever you want to call him, you can call him. But that position is very detail oriented when it comes to, and you have to understand. And I love the fact he keeps using the word concepts and not plays. I'm telling you, this dude on something right here. This dude is on to something.
Yeah, I can. Wow, the coaching staff, the defensive coaching staff that Coach Cristobal has put together, and I'm speaking not of myself, okay? I'm speaking of the other people. Is when you walk into a room and you've got Charlie Strong coaching the linebackers, and you got Jamal Adai coaching the secondary off of a national championship team. And before I move on, I will say what makes that so easy is we're from the same tree, okay? Charlie and I have been at the same place, so he had terminology-wise, it's the same. So when I talk about things, he's been in that terminology. And then, of course, the Georgia tree is tied to the other tree. And so,
I'm gonna let him finish. I'll let him finish.
So Jamal is the same way. I mean, we don't coverage-wise, we're talking the same language, and that's big. On top of that, they're phenomenal teachers and they're phenomenal recruiters. And then Joe Salavea and Rod are, D linemen. That's a hard job, guys. When you got 300 pounds on your right ear and 300 pounds on your left ear, that's a hard job to teach guys how to play technique and be physical in that way. And they're just great teachers and good people. So we've got a really room that is very close already. Of course, we all knew each other. It's not like we just came to town and say, "Hey, how you doing?" We knew each other. So we knew each other. We're all on the same page, and they're very, very bright, good teachers. Plus, we've got enough guys in the room that have been conceptually in the same system.
All right, he said a mouthful right here. Here's the difference. Can I say this? Y'all don't kill me in the chat. Y'all gonna kill me. King Kyle, I know you in the building. You're gonna say something. Mario Cristobal has done the same thing in essence that Manny Diaz did with his staff. But just follow me. Don't kill me just yet. Put the guns and knives away. Hold on. You notice what he's talking about. Mario Cristobal put a staff together that if they did not coach together, they fruit from the same tree. Meaning Kevin Steele was at Alabama under Nick Saban. He understands the defensive side of this. All right. Charlie Strong was an analyst at Alabama. He understands that system. Adai comes from Kirby Smart, who's a defensive coach, who comes from where? Alabama. Pretty much that same system. And he said conceptually, not terminology, but conceptually, it's the same. Here's the difference now. Let me go back to Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz tried to do the same thing by bringing his homeboys who understood his defense, right? The problem with it was the youth and the lack of experience in that staff. Banda, Packy, they knew what Manny Diaz wanted, but can they teach it? Can they coach it? Can they get the guys to understand it? And that's where we had a big lack in. So the process is the same for both staffs, if you understand where I'm coming from. Get guys who know each other, that can understand, right? For the most part. I know the D-line is different, but for the most part, understand how the things work conceptually. What do we want? How do we want to do it? Manny Diaz did the same thing, but his guys were so young. They didn't have any experience, time on task. These guys are young. And then again, they may have been hogtied a little bit through how Manny Diaz wanted to teach it. I can't say that for 100%. In fact, I'm not in those rooms. But that is the main difference. And I've always said, I said this in previous shows. I can't tell you what show it was. But I said that is the problem with the Manny Diaz era, was that room was too young. That room had not enough time on task. Like, they have not been around. There was no diversity in that room, right? So here's the difference. The difference is those guys came up the ranks together, right? So what they know is all they know. But the difference is Charlie Strong, who was a head coach in his own right, a defensive coordinator at Florida, head coach at Texas, Louisville, so forth, all those things. Kevin Steele, I think he had a little head coach stint somewhere, but he had been around for a long time in the NFL. Pretty young guy, right, in essence, from coaching, but what does he do? He comes in from kind of Kirby Smart and maybe some other guys, but the experience is what makes the difference, because now if I know what you want conceptually, I can now pull, Charlie Strong can pull from his experiences from Florida, Louisville, right, Texas. And the beauty about that is you're playing 3 different kind of conferences. So you're seeing different type of opponents. Kevin Steele can pull from Auburn, Pittsburgh, all these places he's been, and still add it to the same quote unquote Alabama concept that they want to implement. That's it right there. That's the difference. That's what experience tells you. You understand me? All right. You don't know what you don't know. You can't teach it. All right. And you have to, I tell people all the time, you have to be able to teach these young men. I could write anything on paper. I can understand anything, but unfortunately, I don't go past that white line. The players have to make it play, so you have to make that happen. So I just want to put that out there. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Hold up. King Kyle, you right. I'm going to give you your flowers, coach. Big shout out to King Kyle in the building. I got to take a sip for you, dog. I'm still waiting for you to call in, my man. I just want to have a conversation. Let's chop it up. King Kyle, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Great live, man. Thank you. Let's get back to this deal, and then we're going to open up these phone lines. Let's chop it up.
That's good.
You've been working a lot.
Excuse me. She's done fired one time, right? Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll get him. I'm not going anywhere.
James Williams today.
Pardon?
James Williams.
Right.
I'm wondering what you're thinking about him. What have you seen from him so far? And do you foresee, or have you experimented him at any other positions?
A little fast for experimentation.
All right, real quick to stop it. She was asking about James Williams, so I know it's a little hard to hear. She's asking about James Williams and his potential, and are they looking to put James Williams, in different positions? That was her question. 241 in the chat. Y'all guys hit that button. We need at least 225 likes on this deal. Keep the comments rolling. And if you were just jumping in, it was my mama's birthday on Saturday. Y'all give her a happy birthday thumbs up. Put a cake in the chat or something, man. The old girl deserve it. You understand? Anyway, let's get back to Kevin Steele. He was answering the question about James Williams.
Now,
what's up, Flo?
You're still learning that you have to learn something first before you can start trying to learn 2 things. That's hard. And so, and not that we ever would with him. We're not at that point. He's playing safety. That's what we know him as. He's long. He can run. He's a bright guy. He communicates well on the field, quarterbacking it. So he's been very good there in that regard.
And Avante?
All right, I'm going to talk about James Williams, and she's going to ask about Avante. James Williams, it was this is experience, dog. This is experience. You got to learn one thing before you can learn 2. You can't multiply if you can't add, man. It's just that simple, right? You have to learn something first. It's day 3. And these are the things, like I said, I know they're media. They're asking those questions. I get it. He did a great job answering the question. But it's day 3 of the practice. And we're talking, because again, everybody talking about moving position, right? I was a guy included, but again, I was talking about something different. My route was different. But anyway, not my birthday, y'all. My mama birthday. It's my old girl birthday, my mama. Y'all give a shout out to the old girl. But anyway, what he said was huge, was he's learning it. He's communicating on the field. Let me tell you something about defensive communication. If your team defensively is not communicating, they don't know what the hell is going on the field. If your team, if your players are not, whether it's through hand signals, whatever the case may be, verbally, and you can tell, you may not be able to hear it, but you can tell, you can see when guys are yelling at each other. If they're not communicating on the field, they don't understand what's going on. because there's so many, you can call a defensive play, but there's so many adjustments that need to be made, right? We call this play, yada, 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 XY defense, ready, break. And then the offense comes out and trips. There are adjustments that need to be made. And I used to say this all the time. If we're all wrong, then we're all right. Meaning, if nobody communicates it, the star may be thinking one thing, the safety may be thinking something else, the linebacker may be thinking something else. That's three different people thinking something different. That's how you get coverages blown. But if whoever that quarterback, like he said, he's back there quarterbacking it, if he's giving that call, then all of these people are on the same page. Now, it may not be what the coach wanted, or it may be. But like I'm saying, if we're all wrong, we're all right. Meaning, if we're all wrong, meaning we're not doing what coach asked, but we're all on the same page, we're going to be okay because we're all thinking the same thing. But if guys are out there quiet, and watch football. Most people think when the corner gets beat deep, it's the corner's fault. Watch this. Trust me. Let me put this back up here. Mark my words. The next time you see a guy get beat deep, watch the cornerback. If he looks at the safety, it was the safety's fault. If he clap his hands, it was his fault. Watch. So to the cornerback, he may look to the fans, man, that dude got beat deep. No, he may be expecting that safety to be over the top. So as soon as he get beat deep, watch him look to the side and be looking at the safety like, bro, where you was at? But if he gets beat deep and it's his fault, he gonna always clap his hands or he gonna drop his head. See, those are the signs right there. But anyway, hey, Chanelin in the building. Big shout out to the producer. Talk to us. All right, Kevin Steele, he's going to talk about Avante Williams.
Williams, how is he?
He's a lot of energy. He loves football and he flies around. He's got a good skill set. He likes contact. So we're pleased with that in terms of the way they're doing a good job of communicating. And that's huge right now.
I got one more. Sorry. Al plays, because we're going to talk to him today too. He's missed a lot of football.
Right.
Tell me where he fits in now this season. How does he look? How's he
doing? Okay, here's the thing about it. What happened in the past, we were not here. So that's irrelevant to us. We don't know. We don't know who played last year other than we watch film and kind of figure out the numbers, but we're not judging anything of the past. We're taking it for the work that they put on the field in front of us. And so Al has come out there. He's playing now. He's playing star and corner some. And so he's got a really good skill set. And so we feel good about him helping us.
All right, real quick, Susan will monopolize the time. So here's the deal. He talked about Avante. See, notice the specifics. When he likes a guy, he's speaking specifically. He's talking about how Avante liked contact. He's talking about those type of things. So when Susan asked now the question about Blades, you notice he's very generic, okay? He's playing star. He's playing corner some. They really don't know where he fits. Because remember what he just said. Watch this. I'm going to show you how he contradicted himself. He just said for James Williams, you got to learn one thing before you can learn two. But then you're going to put Al Blades out there. He's playing corner some. He's playing star some. Now, that may be a package. I get it. It may be a package. I understand. But they're trying to find out what he can do. That's the dilemma with I don't think he's solidified anything good enough to really say he's the corner or he's the star. They're trying to kind of figure that out in those 3 days. Now, what I'm going to call his bluff, I'm not going to say lie, but where he's not being all the way truthful, I believe in my heart of hearts, is when they say they don't care about what happened in the past. There's some truth to that, but there's also some falsehood. Meaning, when they looked at that film, they looked at the film for a reason, to see what they can do and what they can't do. Right? So that they have to look at what they did in the past in that sense, right? Meaning they're not holding them 100% accountable, but we coming in as a new staff, will he have those same habits? Will he have those same problems? Will he Will that carry over? So there is some crossover when it comes to staff changes. So in essence, no, they're not holding him accountable for what happened in the past, but they are. All right. You understand what I'm saying? But they are. So like I said, I had to rip the Band-Aid off on that one, Coach. That's a little coach talk right there. I ain't mad at you, but you're being politically correct and keeping it positive. Nothing wrong with that.
We'll do a few more for Coach.
Coach, as you were saying with the defensive backs, can you talk about that group as a whole, given that you've been working with them the past couple of days of practice?
Yeah, well, I kind of in the DB room, you know, Jamal heads that up, and so I help him with that, and so there's a lot of long athletic guys there. They're guys that really have a lot of want to. They're eager to be taught. They come to the meeting room. They come to the practice field to be taught. And so their attitude's right. We'll get them there as long as they keep that.
What have you seen from Leonard Taylor, who's a really highly talented?
All right, you just talked about the DBs. So as of right now, he's working with the DBs. As he said, Adai heads that up. But you can tell in practice, and again, I haven't been there. Maybe you guys can ask Streeter or whomever that you guys follow that go to those practices what they see. He'll probably eventually start pulling, like when they go to individual, he'll probably start pulling a group out, possibly the safeties. All right. And the reason I know that is because of how he spoke about James. Okay. He really had a lot to say about James. So that goes to show you that's where his eyes are during practice. Didn't speak much about the corners. So Adai probably will be handling the corners more. Kevin Steele will be handling the safeties more. All right. But again, they're in the room together because they, you know, like hand and glove, right? Glove means nothing without the fingers in it. So that's that. Getting ready to talk about Leonard Taylor.
Had a guy coming out of high school, you know, made a mark last year as a freshman. What kind of jump have you seen from him? I know you said you didn't.
Well, I don't know what kind of jump.
What have you seen from him so far?
I know that he is really trying to work hard. That's a hard thing in there, playing on 300 pounds. You know, we've got to learn how to play blocks and be physical at the point of attack and command double teams and then whip double teams. That's hard work. So first day in pads. But again, this group has, I can say it for all of them, repeat myself. You have to understand when we go into that meeting room, they are sitting there bright-eyed, asking questions, eager to learn. And then when we come to the field and we go through our walkthrough stuff, they're communicating, they're eager to be coached and be corrected. Then when we go against the offense, it's the same thing. And so it's a work ethic. The coaches preached and preached and preached. And like he says, we're not going to come off of it. We're going to stay on it. We're going to work. And so they bought into that. We got a long way to go. But if they keep working the way they work, we'll get there.
All right. Only thing I wish Coach would have done is, and I know he's not trying to do this, but sometimes you have to let media know certain things. I know they fish for a lot of information, trying to find out what's what. But you're asking, what kind of jumps did Leonard Taylor make? Appreciate that, Falconer X 199 super chat. Thank you, man, so much. Super sticker. All right, thank you so much for that. That's not a fair question, right? If you're serious about football, like he just said, today their first day in pads. How big of a jump is he going to make in a 2-hour practice? See, sometimes, and I wish as a coach he would have said, well, it'd be hard for me to answer that. This is not a negative on Leonard Taylor, but it'd be hard for me to answer that. This is his third practice. Sometimes you got to, as my mom always say, happy birthday to the old girl. You got to teach people how to treat you. You got to teach them how to ask certain questions. Hey, man, I don't know who that was. It may have been, I'm not going to say because I don't know who it was. Well, listen, my man, this is their third day in practice, his first day in pads, right? You know, he came out, he was explosive, he did this, he didn't necessarily make any jumps. Our first day, we're still installing stuff. We're putting things in. Now, if this was the 13th or 14th practice, that's a legitimate question, all right? So, again, a veteran right here knows how to answer that question, dodges it, dips it, and keeps it general, all right, about what they had to do, all right? No, he was talking about Leonard Taylor. They were talking about Leonard Taylor. Did he make any jumps? That was the question about Leonard Taylor.
Coach,
Last question for Coach
distinctly
Steele.
different is your system to what they've played in the past year?
It's different. It's different. That was a little bit more of a 4-2 system with a lot of slant and angling pressure. And not that we want pressure, not that we want slant and angle, but it's different.
So for the kids, it's a big learning experience.
I don't know that. You know, I mean, people learn different. Different guys learn different. It is a different system, but they've done a good job of picking it up.
Awesome. Thank
All right, real quick. I think that was the last question.
you, Coach.
All right, yeah, that was the last question. So listen, the smartest thing he did was avoid that. If that dude would have said, "Oh, it's very similar," man, he would have dug a hole so deep, bro. He would have dug a hole so deep for himself if he would have said, "Oh, it's very similar to Manny Diaz." Okay, you notice he even changed. Listen to what he said. Theirs were more of a 4-2-5 slant, but he's just telling you, if we got a nickel out here, what are they running? A 4-2-5. Brilliant the way he did that. Brilliant the way he deflected off of that. But from a coach, I'm not saying schematically it's the same, but it's it may be similar in the sense of what you're going to see when they line up. But they may he talked about slants and stuff. They may have more zone blitzes in there. They may have more different packages, different coverages. I really believe the coverages. And let me say this last piece about coverage. A lot of people don't understand coverages dictate run support. Okay? I know from the coaching standpoint, a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. And that's cool. I get it. You're not coaching, right? That's like me trying to tell a financial advisor, I understand everything about blah, 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 blah. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm telling you guys, coverages help dictate run support. And if you're coaching, if you're going to get into coaching or whatever the case may be, that is one of the first things you must learn, one of the first things you must understand, that whatever coverage you call is all based on the type of, is going to help you within the run support in which you give. And that's huge. And we could talk about clinics and everything else. And that's huge. I just wanted to deconstruct. We got 250 in the building. Appreciate you guys. I just want to deconstruct and kind of talk about and break down the what the coaches are talking. Because sometimes there's some coach speak. I have to say, it wasn't a lot of fluff in there. There was some fluff. You know, that's part of coaching. You're in a high media market. I get it. But you can see the difference in some experience. You can also tell the difference between Josh Gattis' interview versus Kevin Steele's interview, right? Kevin Steele talked about specifics. Josh Gattis kept it happy and lighthearted and didn't really say a lot, which was fine. No big deal. But Kevin Steele has been around a lot. He understands those questions and they don't get caught off guard. Big shout out to Streeter for catching my man off guard. Dog say when we got to the playoff, it got real. We need some of those. All right. So I'm going to open up the phone line real quick. Let me pop this up here right quick. Open up this phone line. Hold up. Got to find it. Yeah, open up this phone line real quick. Let's pop this on the screen. Let's see if we can go ahead and get this thing rolling. And I want to hear from my people, man. Talk to me, man. I miss you guys. Been gone for a minute. I'm back for the jump off. Phone number 321-328-8235. Give us a call. Let's talk about it. And while I'm waiting on that first call, let me go ahead and give Falcon the X his love for the super sticker. Thank you so much, as always. Well, y'all ain't playing around. That's what I like. When I open the phone lines, baby, call on in 508 area code. What in the world is that? I know you're a Cane fan.
Yep, that's Massachusetts, baby.
What? We got Canes in Massachusetts? Talk to us. Go ahead.
Originally from Florida, 42 years old, but moved up here.
All right, so talk to me, man. What's going on, man? Did you get a chance to see the little breakdown of their interviews and stuff? Or what's your thoughts?
Yes, I did. I saw those interviews when it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to touch base on the Manny Diaz, as far as you was talking about experience.
Okay.
So if you look at all the coaches and where they went after Manny Diaz got released, you notice everybody got a demotion. All the
demotion,
experience that we didn't have, right? Manny Diaz, what happened? If Manny Diaz was the coach that we all thought he was, right, for the 3 years, why did he be a defensive coordinator instead of somebody reaching out for him to be a coach, a head coach? You notice nobody had his name at the top of the list for a head coach.
Nah, you're right. You're right.
Nobody asked the questions, why did he take that job as a D coordinator? Like, why? Why wouldn't you, if you felt in your heart that you did a good job and you got fired, why didn't you just reach out and say, I want to be a head coach no matter what? He took the first thing that was on the table because he knew he wasn't ready for that.
Well, I'm going to say this on the back end, right? Those guys, again, is their business, so they're going to get information before the public does. And they have agents and things. And again, right now, sometimes it's not a good look. He probably did get job offers maybe from lower tier program, right? The FCS programs, right? But he wanted to stay in the Power 5 program. He probably got some offers from some group of fives, but he probably wanted to stay in that arena of the Power 5, go in there, because you have to think about it, right? He's probably gonna make some good money at Penn State. I don't know what his contract is. I didn't look it up, but he's probably going to make some good money there. Stay there 2 years, maybe 3 years. If he does a great job with their defense, he'll get another shot. They recycle coaches all the time, man. You understand? So, but what he didn't want to do is probably easier to be a coordinator in a group of five. I mean, in a Power 5 and become a head coach again in the Power 5 than it is be a head coach in a group of 5 and become a head coach in a big time group of 5. Does that make sense? I'm just saying a big time head coach in a Power 5.
Temple first.
Right.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to touch base on, because I like Manny Diaz as a defensive coordinator. I just think that we rushed to hire, and I felt like all of those coaches showed they didn't have the experience. And I think Kevin Steele got more experience than our whole entire staff last year.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that a lot of people say rush to hire. I don't believe that. I think it was cheap to hire. I think that meaning.
Well, what I'm saying, like rush to hire, as in like they rushed him to hire, so he was rushing hires. He was hiring his buddies. He was hiring. Remember Dan Enos? He thought was so great. It was like a shot in the arm. He kept saying, I think.
Well, here's the thing. So let me ask you this about Dan Enos. Where did Dan Enos come from?
Alabama.
Okay.
That's what we know him. That's what we know. We first heard of Alabama. Dan Enos coming from Alabama, right? That's what the first name jumped out. I didn't hear of the guy since then. I didn't know who he was.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying, right? So he grabs a guy from Alabama, Enos. You know what I mean? Here's the thing with a lot of people. I have to say this, and I'm just gonna call it a spade. King Kyle gonna kill me. I hope he calls in. There are a lot of factors that are against head coaches when administration doesn't care. When the administration at that time, I have to call a spade a spade. I'm not saying Manny Diaz was the answer. I'm not saying that at all. But so let me ask you this. Mario Cristobal today gets that job and they don't put the money in this program. Who does he hire? Would Charlie Strong come here?
But the thing is they was going to invest in somebody has been proven. They was never going to invest in Manny because he couldn't prove it without money. Mario has proven that he can have no money at FIU and still get it done over time and get it done over time. Manny had to prove that first before they gave him money.
No, I agree. But
you're on a contract to prove yourself in 5 years, right? You didn't do that in 3 years. You didn't prove that you had a trajectory of moving up.
Yeah, but that's like anything, right? But to me, that's unfair. That that the game has changed. I think Miami brass was still on old school philosophy, thinking that we could still win with enough talent around here and we could do it. Okay. You got a guy that's I can say inexperienced, first time head coach. I get it. I'm cool with that. And this is not a defense of him. I'm talking. I don't care who you would have put in that seat. What I'm just trying to say is, if you look at the top programs, what do they all have in common? Players, right? Coaches and administration.
AD.
Yeah, administration. We didn't have one of the three. We had some players, maybe not all of the top players. Coaches, whatever. But then our admin wasn't helping us. I mean, think about this. We weren't paying coaches. We can go all the way back to Randy Shannon when he was making what? Not even $1 million? When other dudes was making 4, 5, 6 million? I'm just saying, so there's a lot of blame to go around. I'm not saying Manny would have been more successful with more money, but what I'm saying is we have to say what, and I believe calling a spade. We have to be able to do that. And I say this, I believe in Mario Cristobal, I do. But with Mario Cristobal been able to create a staff like this, if the amount of pressure on the admin wasn't there to open the books, and Mario Cristobal wasn't steadfast in his approach to having the books open. Kirk Herbstreit was the one who actually opened this door. Thank you, Solomon Arroyo. Kirk Herbstreit is the one who actually put the spotlight, and it made the brass had to come out the dark and say, hold up, we in trouble. So, but imagine if Kirk Herbstreit didn't say that. We go to Miami. Just all hypothetical. Let's say Kirk Herbstreit doesn't put.
That's with anything though. You put them out there in the media, then they gonna act.
Exactly. And so a shout out to Kirk Herbstreit for that, because he knew this, whether he went to Ohio State or not. He knows that Miami Hurricane football is good for college football. You understand what I'm saying? And and so with that being said, but I'm just saying, but let's go back to my original point was with Mario Cristobal. If Mario Cristobal doesn't have an open wallet, would he be able to acquire a Kevin Steele? Would he be able to acquire a Josh Gattis who's making 1 point something million? Will he be able to acquire a Charlie Strong? Will he be able to give a $200,000 something raise? Would he, you see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Like, so now what would have been his deal? Because to Mario Cristobal's point, he's still
this is what I'm gonna cut you off. I want to cut you off on that.
Yeah, go for it.
If you give Manny that kind of money, he don't have the relationships that Mario has been to go get those top end players. Even if you gave him that kind of money, $2 million, who he gonna go get? He don't have that relation to go get a guy.
No, I agree with that. But I agree with that.
It's more about the people. And Mario says it all the time. It's about relationships. It's about the people. I think the people has brought him closer with these people, these other people that he knows, these relationships.
Yeah, because everybody he's hired, he knows. Everybody he has hired, he knows. Mirabal.
And they're all powerful people.
Yeah, Mirabal, right? I don't know his tie to Kevin Smith. Maybe know them through maybe recruiting back in the day when he was a player, something like that. But other than that, Kevin
Smith has the ties to South Florida.
I'm talking about his personal. He has another relationship with. They're all tied together. He brought in all the guys from Oregon. He know Kevin Steele to Alabama, right? Nick Saban signs off on him. I'm just saying those kind of ties. Maybe Lane Kiffin. I don't know. Maybe he has a relationship with Lane Kiffin, and I don't know. I don't know the Kevin Steele piece, but I'm just talking. Frank Pons, we know he knows from FIU. He just brings in Juan Navarro, who was at FIU. There's a lot of people that he actually knows, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But he knows some people. Here's the difference, though. Can I be honest with you? Me and you, my man. What's your name?
Lawrence.
All right, Lawrence. Me and you, we work together. You making $400,000, Lawrence, wherever you are. We know each other. We coach together. I want you to come to me, but I want you to come to me for $250. Would you do it?
It depends on the situation. For me, to be honest, it depends on it. Like, I'm a family man, so I got to talk to my family about that. It ain't about the money for me. It's about, okay, can my family be in this area where you want me to move to? That's my personal opinion.
I hear you, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna downgrade.
Because you can make all the money in the world and not be comfortable living in your situation, right? Because it's you making the money, not your family. If they ain't comfortable, you ain't comfortable. No matter how much money you make.
Yeah,
I don't want nobody shooting at my new house.
No, I'm not. We talking about as a coach. I'm talking about if you were a coach. I ain't talking about living in the poke and beans.
Coaches gonna live and make money outside the city anyway. That's why they do that, because they don't want to be close to the.
No, yeah, but I mean, you talking about shooting at your house? Golly, that boy ready to bang bang. No, we talking about some significant dollars here. But what I'm saying is, most people make moves.
Yeah.
If you have a choice to make a move, you make that move, usually for
Right.
financial, or if it's equal, maybe a better opportunity. It's hard to take $150,000 difference. Okay. And what I said all that to say, if it would be hard, even with all those ties, to lure guys from their situations for less when they were doing good. You kind of get what I'm saying? I'm just talking, but
right.
But that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I ain't talking about getting shot at, dog. God. Hey, if I'm making fun, listen. Hey, I'm gonna say this: if I'm making $400,000 and getting shot at, I'm doing something illegal. I'll put it to you like that.
All right, Coach. I'm gonna let somebody else call in and get on here. I enjoyed the show, man. I enjoyed watching you, man. You cool.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, one love.
Yes, sir. All right, real quick, man. Let's go ahead and talk about it. You guys more than welcome to call in. I'd love to talk to Mr. Solomon Arroyo, man. If you could call in, I would love to talk to you. But real quick, what was I getting ready to say? Oh, but y'all don't give a break, but y'all ready. Carla, give me 1 second. I'll be with you 1 second. I was at the crib, man, had a chance I was out in the streets a little bit, man. I love the fact that people come, Coach, man, Coach Hayes, blah, 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 blah. And people recognize from the show, and it's awesome, man. So if you ever see me out in the streets, man, don't be afraid to holler at me. What's up, Coach? So come holler at me, man. We had a good time, man. Especially had a good friend of mine named B. He runs Ricky's over there on Pines. I don't know if y'all know about it. Put a thumbs up in the chat if you heard about Ricky's over there at Pines across from Old Iguanas. But we had a good time there, man. Met a couple of people that watched the show, big time Hurricane fans, and they were super excited, man. And we had some cane juice together and really enjoyed it. Carla, talk to a 786 area code.
What's going on, Coach Hayes? It's
What's
Mr.
up?
JR or me, JR.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. JR, what's up with you, man?
Nothing. What's going on, Coach? Just wanted to holler at you real quick.
I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
All right. I just want to say a few things. Number one, have you changed your mind about the decision about Lane Kiffin yet? Would you still take Lane Kiffin over Mario, seeing the staff he built?
Hindsight is 2020. All right, so here we go. So I say this again. No. I'm gonna say this again. This was my. I want to make sure I'm clear on this because there may be some people that don't know the history of that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the history. So here's what I said between Lane Kiffin and Mario Cristobal for maybe some new viewers or people that didn't hear it. I said this and I still believe this. Mario Cristobal has to strike gold when it comes to coordinators. He's still not out of that water. He's good for this season. They're already talking about, hear me out, they're already talking about Josh Gattis is the hot name next year to be a coordinator. I mean, to be a head coach somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whether he moves somebody up through the ranks, hires a new guy, I don't know. But he's consistently going to have to do that when he's successful. Just hear what I'm saying. And I know you know because you heard it. I'm just kind of painting a picture for the fan base. So the issue comes, think about what Josh Gattis said. I just broke it down. We're installing a brand new offense. We're installing a brand new this. Now he leaves. A new person comes in. What happens? It's a constant revolving door. I'm not saying that doesn't happen with other coaches, but it only happens typically through one door and not both. Because guess what? I don't know what Kevin Steele's ambitions are at his age. If he plans on going to get a job somewhere, maybe the NFL calls him back. I don't know. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Josh Gattis, a young dude, get a job off. And you know these offensive coaches getting jobs left and right because it's all about offense. He gets a job.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Steele gets a job. And I don't care what y'all say. Charlie Strong ain't here for no 4 or 5 years. I don't care what y'all say. He's not. He's not.
No
listen,
way.
he's not here for that. You know why he's here? Not because Miami's a good job, but he's here because he didn't have a job. He just got released from the Jaguars. It's a great opportunity. Nothing wrong with that. But he's not here to be the linebacker. You think a person like Charlie Strong, who's a 2-time head coach, all these things, I'm just going to be the linebacker coach?
Of course not.
No.
No
So
way.
you're gonna lose that gentleman at some point, whether it's 2 years. If you want to push 3, I'll take that, but I don't think it's going to be that long. So back to my point.
But you don't. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, so back to my point. You lose those coordinators. Now Mario has to strike gold twice again to keep the train rolling. This is exactly what happened. This is exactly what happened to Ed Ogeron. He struck gold in David Arroyo. I mean, Aranda, because I keep talking about Arroyo. I want his dad to call in. He struck gold with David Aranda and Joe Burrow, and I forgot the older gentleman's name. As soon as those guys left, 2 years later, he's fired. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Manny Diaz. Mario Cristobal. But I'm just saying he has to constantly strike gold because one side of the ball is not his own. So
Orgeron struck more than gold, though.
What did he strike?
I mean, he struck some women. That's what his problem was. That's how he got kicked out of LSU.
Well, he got kicked out, but guess what? They were bad. If they were good, he was striking them women. He was striking them women when Joe Burrow was there. Come on, dog. Everybody good till it's bad. Your boy over there, Arkansas, he fell off the motorcycle. They tried to cover that up so bad, but they couldn't. Right? I'm just saying all these things happen. But as long as you're good and you're bringing in dollars, you're all right. Soon as it go bad, well, you know, these women been coming out, or this has happened, or this scandal is happening, you got to go. Because now you can fire them with just cause. Right? That's all that's all contract language stuff. We can't fire you just because you're bad. That means we have to pay you out. But if we fire you with just cause, meaning because you've done something unethical or whatever, then we don't have to pay you out your contract.
Yeah, we don't have to give you that buyout money.
They been knew that. You don't think the boys know that he was doing what he was doing? Yeah, they knew. That was they spade up the sleeve. As soon as it got bad, hey man, you out of here. But anyhow, so I say this to say that Lane Kiffin, that's who I said I wanted at the beginning because of the high-powered offense and the players that we had. He had to strike gold one side, which is defensively, which he struggled with. But I said this, if Mario Cristobal get the job, I'm just as happy. I really am. But my only concern was that he just has to strike gold continuously. He's doing a great job now. Never disputed that, never will. Excellent job. Still got to put it on the grass, but he's doing a good job.
Do you think he hired Ponce and Strong as backup options just in case those two guys leave earlier than he was anticipating?
I don't know. I think that Strong will leave before Steele will. Me personally.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because the only reason I think that because Strong, he's already had the head coach bug, right? You've been a head coach at South Florida. You've been a head coach at Louisville. You've been the head coach at Texas. I don't know. I mean, no goes to 63. That's still young in coaching. I mean, some guy be coaching till they 70. You know what I mean? 75, whatever.
Yeah.
But I still think Charlie Strong may still have that bug more than Kevin Steele does. I don't know that to be a fact. But I still think that Strong may leave before Kevin Steele does. That's just my personal opinion. But and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what it's all about, right? That's what nobody wants to be the fry guy forever. Somebody want to be the manager eventually. And that's what you do in life. You work your way up the ladder.
No, I understand. I understand completely. Well, that was it, Coach.
I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
I appreciate you calling in, man.
Take care.
Thank you for always being in the comments, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
All day. Y'all call on in, man. Let's get these phone calls rocking and rolling. Carol, what's up? He said, damn, coach, you ain't holler at your boy, man. Look here. Coach was down there working, man. I was trying to do my taxes. Man, y'all don't understand, boy. I ain't that big yet, but I got people who can do it for me. And I still ain't gonna have nobody do it for me, man. That's how people go to jail. Ask Wesley Snipes. Call or talk to us. Give us your name, where you calling from. 708 area code.
How you doing, Coach? This is Marcus from Chicago.
Marcus, what's going on from Chi-Town? What's up? Talk to me.
What's going on? So I got 3 questions for you. So the first one, what advice would you give to somebody trying to start off in their coaching career? Like, say, like, where did you work your way from Little League to high school, then up to college, or how would you start out that career?
How is it for you?
No, just in general, just like
okay. No, I didn't know if it was for you because I was going to ask your age. So here's the deal. It's changed a lot, right? Because you can't work a lot of the camps like you used to, so coaches can see. I would actually start in high school. Hate to say this, if that's your ultimate ambition, because time is not always on your side, I would go into high school and work with JV or whatever, stay around the varsity staff, stick to the head coach like glue. But find a good head coach, whoever that is. Find a good high school head coach. Not necessarily all about wins and losses, but a coach that knows how to teach. Okay? A coach that knows how to teach this game. All right? That's one. As that happens, be a part, and I don't know if that person has the opportunity, but when these coaches come into the building, ask that head coach if you can sit in on those meetings. You can start building those relationships with those coaches that come in to recruit. Ask coach if you can be the person that is over recruiting, building the databases. Maybe you might do the intro part until coach can come out of his class. Find a way to stay in the faces of these coaches, okay? If you have an opportunity to go to these colleges, go to the colleges. Keep those relationships going. Send out text messages. During the season, send out, hey, coach, have a great game this way, such and such, go Canes. Just send a text if you could do it, whether they get it or not. You know what I mean? That is all, you're marketing yourself, whatever the case may be. And then if you get an opportunity to get in, if you can volunteer at maybe the local college where you are, after you felt like you gained some knowledge in high school, find a local college. You're in Chicago. Maybe you can volunteer. And I'm just using you for example. If you can volunteer at Northwestern, or maybe it's some smaller colleges around there. I don't know all the colleges in Chicago. Excuse me. But if you can volunteer your time over there and go in there and just say, hey, can I volunteer my time doing whatever? You don't want to get paid, and then maybe you'll work your way through and so forth and so on. And that's kind of how you get into this deal now.
Okay. My second question, back to the Lane Kiffin, Mario Cristobal debate. So you said that, Mario would have to strike gold with coordinators and all that kind of stuff. And, I agree. Nick Saban has to do it all the time, but he's built a brand. Mm-hmm. But which one do you think would be harder, changing coordinators and change our offense or defense, or changing head coaches and changing a whole different style of coaching? Because Lane Kiffin wasn't going to stay at Miami for at least 2 years if he did exactly what you thought he was going to do.
Where would he go?
I don't know, but for some odd reason, other colleges and NFL teams love when Miami is doing well, and who knows? There's always somebody looking for a new coach in any position.
So you don't think Mario Cristobal would take that opportunity in the NFL if it's presented to him?
I don't think he would do it right away. I think I don't. If he does his plan, I honestly think he's going to stay. He's going to try and win a national championship, and after that, maybe he takes a job, maybe he doesn't. But I honestly think his loyalty to the area is going to keep him here until he at least does a certain goal that he'll reach. And then after that, we'll see where the cards go. But I honestly do think he at least wants to leave some sort of legacy here if he does leave it somewhere.
Okay. And that's fair. I like what you said. I think that's fair. Well, here's what I know about coaching. Opportunities don't usually circle around twice. Because here's the deal. You could be hot today and ice cold tomorrow. It's like anything, right? Sometimes not all deals are good deals, but what I want to say to you is, if his ultimate ambition is to be a NFL head coach or have that opportunity to come in, I don't see him going in as a coordinator because he doesn't have coordinator experience. So there's two options for him in the NFL. I don't think he'll leave Miami for another job, another coaching college job. But I'm talking about up to the NFL. He'll either have to come in as a position coach or the head coach. It's just simply because he just doesn't have coordinator experience. In the NFL, I don't believe would do that, and that's okay. But for Lane Kiffin, again, a lot of things we're speaking in hindsight.
Yeah.
He's been in college all these years, right? Think about it. He's been in college. He's been in college all of these years. I do think that Lane Kiffin got a bad rap. Let me ask you this: why do you think Lane Kiffin would leave?
I honestly think okay, so how I got introduced to Lane Kiffin was USC, and then I saw him bounce around from college to college, But honestly, the same thing you just said, if he, his mindset is offense, and when Miami has a high flying offense, everything just seems to fall into place. But if he brought that sort of style to Miami, and even if we didn't win a national championship, but say he makes it to a college playoff appearance, let's say twice. I honestly think, same thing you said, he might want an NFL position, because all what you said about Mario Cristobal, he doesn't have coordinator experience. Lane Kiffin has coordinator experience. And he, as far as I know, he was good at that job too. So an NFL team might be willing to take that and say, hey, look, come in as an offense coordinator or even, first-time head coach in the NFL, and if you don't fit in the head coaching rank, okay, fine, interview for the offense coordinator position.
Well, you got to remember he was the but you got to remember he was the head coach at the Raiders, right? One of the youngest at that time, right? 33 or 34, whatever he was. I believe he's too arrogant to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. He would have to become the head coach. Here's what I don't know if he'll become an offensive coordinator. I mean, I don't know if he'll become a head coach in the NFL. I don't know that to be a fact. Let me go back to what you said, because this was very interesting. I think this is where the bad rap comes. You said you were introduced to him at USC. Prior to that, where was he at?
That I do not remember.
He was
I'm only 24. I've been following college football.
I got you. So I'm going to help you. He was at Tennessee. He went to Tennessee, and he left Tennessee for his dream job, which happened to be what? USC. So in essence, he did the same thing Mario Cristobal did at Oregon, right? Left Oregon for his dream job. Fair? When he got to USC, USC lied to him about the sanctions and all of the things that were coming down the pipe from the Reggie Bush and the Heisman taken back and all of that stuff. He only had, I think, 30 scholarships in 3 years. So everybody gets 25 a year. He was getting 10 a year and still went 10-2.
Yeah.
So then he gets fired from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. People think he leaves because he wants to leave. He leaves for various reasons. Then he was at FAU, where of course, he went to Alabama and so forth as a coordinator, getting his butt chewed. That relationship was bad. But he goes to FAU, turns that program around. Who won't take Ole Miss? Who won't leave FAU for an Ole Miss job?
Not many people.
Everybody I know would leave the Fighting Owls for the Rebels or whatever they call now, the Bears or whatever the Ole Miss is called now. So what I'm saying, it looks and sounds bad, but you have to put it in context for what it is. Now, I'm not saying this dude ain't wild. I ain't saying this dude, like when he was at Tennessee and they throwing golf balls at him, he grabbing his crotch like, yeah, and he waving at him. He arrogant as all get out. But people think he's going to leave, and I'm asking, Think about what he did. Okay, if everybody was vowing for him, he takes an Ole Miss team, has never won 10 games in the existence of the program. They won 10 games, ranked number 8th in the season, has a quarterback in Matt Corral, who I didn't think was the greatest, had early Heisman talks. Nobody came asking for him. Nobody came knocking down his door. Hey, I want you to come to the NFL, bro.
Yeah.
Beats a Texas A&M team. So
They beat Alabama.
exactly. Right. So, Alabama gave them the business too, but that's football. It kind of goes around. I'm just trying to say that I think that, and I had that same feeling most people had until I really started investigating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what's your third question? Did I answer your second question?
Yeah, you answered my second question. I see it. I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my third question is, because I truly believe history repeats itself. I'm not saying that, Miami's on the brink or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. But I've done research at like 70s Alabama, 80s Miami and everything. But before Miami was great in the 80s, Alabama had that 70s decade of dominance, like they currently just, like the dominance they just had recently.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as that decade was over, Georgia won their national championship with Herschel Walker. And then right after that, Miami became the U with Howard Schnellenberger and all these great NFL players.
Okay.
So I just find it really funny how after Alabama had a whole decade, and then Georgia won its national championship, and now Miami's all of a sudden, now we're trying to get refocused again. So I find that very very coincidental. Do you find that funny at all?
Yeah, I see where you're going, like with the pattern that's starting to form there, right? So I see where you're coming from with it. Yeah. I just think that recruiting is different. You have to remember, the Hurricanes is not an old football program, right? People think Miami Hurricanes is an old team. You remember Alabama, them boys been playing Ohio State. They've been playing early 1900s, man. You know what I mean? Like they were playing back when they didn't have face masks, So Miami came along and people realized, and Snellenberger truly realized and didn't care. You have to remember this too. The University of Miami was still the University of Miami so far as the type of school it was.
Yeah.
Snellenberger didn't care about the kind of players he gonna bring in. If you get my drift. I need some ball players, and I'm finna go get them with Michael Irvin. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go get these ball players. And so he went and got these, right? But he went and got these ball players, and with him going to get those ball players, that's what put Miami onto the true map. And again, you have to remember, recruiting was way different. Most teams at that time kind of geographically recruited their area, right? So Alabama at the time would get the South, the Georgia, the Louisiana, the Arkansas, Alabama, Texas. They'll get players here and there. Recruiting now, I mean, you click a button, bro, you can see a dude's tape in Oklahoma. I mean, you can see a dude's tape in Oakland, California in 2 seconds versus you had to put it in the mail and all that other crap.
Absolutely. But also how Schnellenberger understood that. He was just like, hey, all these, old blood schools are doing this, and we have some of the athletes who could just run for days down here.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't that work down here? Mario is the first, and I can say this truthfully, my first introduction to Miami was 2001, and ever since then I've just been following. So
how old were you in 2001?
Mario was
4 or 5?
I was 4. Yep. Hey, look.
Damn, I've been teaching since 2000. Go ahead, I'm listening.
But yeah, but that's a nice introduction to Miami Hurricanes football. 2001, then you actually start, as you grow older, you start seeing all these players and all this kind of stuff. So that's a nice introduction. But just like Schnellenberger, Mario actually understands the area too, and he's just like, hey, look, we can't put the fence up the way it used to be, but we can at least stop the flow of players leaving here, and we can get a lot of these players to stay home. And it's not the same blueprint, but it's a little outline.
Correct.
So do you think that if Mario was able to just like I saw statistics, 40% of 4 and 5 stars out of the state of Florida only stay in Florida. 60% of them go somewhere else.
Wow.
So do you think if Mario and I'll bring in Tallahassee and the Gators, even Florida just needs to play us every year and they need to pay up, but if they are able to keep, say, let's just raise it up to 60%. Let's just say they flip the fraction, 60% to 40%. Like, I can honestly say there's no way that Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma are going to be able to have the chokehold on college the way they do. I'm not going to say they're not going to be good because they built programs like that. But I just find it really funny that Mario is actually going to try and understand and be like, hey, look, come to Miami. You don't got to go all the way out there to try and make it to the NFL. We are actually investing in you as young men with a degree, because that's number one. Get a degree, because if NFL ain't going to last, it stands for not for long. So come to this school, and you don't even got to, your parents don't got to even buy a ticket. Come take a little drive, 2 hours, maybe not even. Come watch your son play.
Yeah, and the hard part, and I agree with you, right? And the hard part about it, like you said, all of us have been failing. And when I say all of us, all of our state schools have been failing when it comes to recruiting, except Florida at the time, right? When Urban Meyer was there. And Jimbo. But after Jimbo left, then they kind of dwindled away, right? And Jimbo saw the writing on the wall. That's why he got up out of there. You can't tell me that Florida State football is not more prestigious than Texas A&M. I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the prestige of the football program. So
that sphere is more important than that TAM. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so what happens is we have so much talent. The problem is, and it shows in your statistic, what you just said. James Williams, for example, is our 40% to Jakari Brooks, Christian Leary, Mario Williams, all these players flying out of the state of Florida all over, and we're keeping the Leonard Taylor and James Williams. Right? That doesn't mean other guys can't play like Brashard Smith or whatever. I get it. But I'm just talking about, but imagine if you add those guys that left to that same team. You'll turn back to the 2001 Hurricanes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what makes the difference is Mario actually is telling the players straight up, we are going to invest in you. Like you had the 2012 class with Duke Johnson, Tracy Howard, Deion Bush, and all of them, and they believed in the youth, but we didn't invest in them. We didn't say, come here and we will make your future better.
Right.
We just say, hey, come here, we're gonna play you as freshmen, and skill on skill, you guys are better. Nah, Mario's just like, no, it takes work, it takes process.
Right.
And I actually think like, I'm not from down south, but I'm not from the crib, but Chicago is the way, yeah, exactly. Chicago, you have, your different areas and everything, but we need to understand, like, we're putting our future in you. What can you do for me? And if you don't do it, who else am I backed upon? Because we can't depend on nobody but ourselves.
And you know what? And I hear what you're saying, but to these young men, you have to remember the dynamic, and you're closer to their age than I am. It's a me generation. They love the glitz and the glam. They love all of this stuff. They love you have to remember the pot of gold, the pot of money that's at the end of this rainbow, where LSU puts in $78 million into their facilities. Like, they love that. Look at their Instagram pages, bro. You can look at a kid's Instagram. I just talked to one of the top prospects today. Never checked his Instagram. I say, bro, I bet you got, I said, how many followers you got on Instagram? He said 1,500. I said, I bet you only got three pictures up there. You're like, nah, I got 2. Like, that's their thing. Their thing is all about me. And they love the glitz and the glam. Why do you think, let's be honest to you, what does having a disco ball in the middle of your locker room have to do with winning football games at the end of the day? Not a darn thing. But that's what you have to do. You have to cater to your clientele. You understand? And that's what Mario Cristobal is still having to do, because they have to allocate these monies and build this stuff. It takes time to build these things. When you got places like Alabama already have built it and adding on to it, and adding on to it when we still just breaking ground. Like if you really think about we in South Florida, we just get an indoor facility. How old is that facility? 4 years old? The people that had indoor facility. Yeah. What I'm trying to say, and we had a reason to have one because of the weather, not because of the snow, but because of the lightning. So we've always had a reason to have. It ain't like we was in Hawaii. We always have a reason to have one. They just didn't invest that stuff. But you go to Alabama, they got a full field in there. You go, hell, Tennessee State even got an indoor facility. That's an HBCU.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
That might go back to it. I think that's an administration problem though. If they're not willing to invest that money, they lose. I feel like it's going to take. Give it 4 years. Say we're contender for the playoffs each year.
Yeah.
You don't think that those white collar guys in that office aren't going to see, hey, football started getting better, and we added $5 million to our revenue.
Of course they will.
Put in a little bit more money.
Yeah, but of course they will. But like everybody else, right? I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna roll on because I want to get Mr. Solomon Arroyo on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Here's the deal. These people, you have to remember their role. Their role is to get more for less, just like a GM. I never understood how the GM does draft picks and he ain't the coach. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's like in college saying the athletic director is going to do the recruiting for the head coach of the college. The GM is going to recruit the players for the head coach, but then you fire the head coach because they don't do well. Jerry Jones is a businessman, oil dude, or whatever he does. He makes Wally World and Jerry World and all that stuff, and he's sitting in the war room picking draft picks and fire you because they don't do well. But guess what? I bet he wouldn't put the head coach in charge of his business ventures.
Oh, no.
So it's the most asinine thing I've ever seen. But why is that done? Because they want to get more for less. I want to get more players and spend less money, right? As a coach, we don't care. I want the player. Pay what you got to pay. And so I say that to say this. When people don't understand the value of investing money to make more, sometimes you got to spend $1 to make $2. Then it doesn't work. You understand what I'm saying? But, man, I hope I answered all three of your questions, man. Thank you so much for calling in. Real quick, somebody had a question. How many Hurricane fans are in Chicago, man?
Well, first of all, Chicago, we are a basketball state. Like how football is for y'all, high school football is for y'all.
Yeah.
That's high school basketball for us. You know, like how the Mecca Trash Powell is for you. United Center, it's a smack dab almost in between the west side and downtown. That's our Mecca for basketball.
Right.
Especially, we get 6 inches of snow, and all of a sudden we just like, all right, where's the court at? We need seats. You guys, it's just raining.
Right.
But we're around. You just got to find us.
I got you. Well, hey, I guess it probably ain't too. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Man. I'm gonna make sure I let her know, man. A fan from the shot said happy birthday. We're gonna get some of the Harris chicken off 87, right?
Yeah, hey, yeah, and you gotta come by, get some Uncle Remus, some Robinson's ribs. All right,
there
get
it
some
is.
deep dish pizza, man. Go feed
I love it, man. My roommate in college, he's from the Wild Hunnets out the Shy. So I heard many stories from the Shy, man. I got family in the Shy. They went to Whitney Young and all that, man. But definitely, man, thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, man. And as always, man, stay tuned in. We got some good stuff coming up.
All right, all about you, man.
Yes, sir. Mr. Arroyo, start calling now. I'm trying to give him a heads up. Real quick, man, I had a donation on Cash App. I appreciate it so much. Means a lot. Thank you so much. Like I said, we're gonna do something special for our Cash App guys. Cash App donations coming up. I hope this is him right here. Did he get cut off? Oh Lord, it got cut off. I don't know who that is. Mr. Arroyo, if you can, go ahead and give us a call. I'm not sure. 786 got cut off. I'm not sure. If you can put in your last four, that'll let me know. If not, I'll call your phone back. That'll let me know, Mr. Arroyo. But anyway. Johnny Green says, Coach, I'm a rep. Coach, I'm a rep in Texas, but I've been dubbed myself the biggest Miami Hurricane fan on the planet. I love it. I love it. All right, maybe this is it right here. You said it was you? I don't know what's going on, man. Y'all done overload the number. The number is tripping. All right, I'm gonna call you back. Mr. Roy. I'm gonna call you back. 786. All right, here we go. I'm gonna call this number. Yeah, we still live. We good. We're gonna call somebody's house right here. Here we go. Candace Bloom in the building. We're gonna call somebody's house right here. Here we go. Candace Bloom in the building. Yeah. Do me a favor. You cut your background down, it'd be great.
Yeah. It's awesome.
All right, perfect, man. Thank you for calling, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for following us, watching us, man. How's everything going?
No, everything's good, man. We love your content. Me, my wife, mother-in-law, we all watch your shows, man. We love it.
I appreciate it. You had a chance to check out some of those WREs, huh?
We checked out all of them.
Yeah, hey, that second one was fire. You know, I like to keep it real, man. And some people wrote they had their hands around my neck about that first one. And you know, I just had to call it from and I do that because I want to bring it from a coach's perspective. But boy, that second one was off glad. I loved it.
We appreciate it. We appreciate the first one, but we really appreciate the second one.
Yeah, man,
sure.
definitely,
Yeah,
man. So talk to us, man. Talk to us.
Yeah, man. I got to be in Green Tree last week. I went to 2 practices for the spring, and let me tell you, man, those coaches are for real, man. Those coaches, they're yelling on the kids like it's supposed to be, you know, like intimidating these kids. They got a drill around a hula hoop, and Gattis is lighting these kids up, man. Like they couldn't get it right, and it's a coach, man. You know what I mean? Like
with the bag, right? When they go around the bag, they hit them with the bag.
Coach.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be, man. That's the way it's supposed to be.
No, that's awesome, man. So let me ask you this. Now, your son was recruited through Manny Diaz.
Yeah, so we were recruited really through the OC, who was Lashley, because we're up in Dallas, you know. We're from Miami, but we're up in Dallas now. And so Lashley from SMU had recruited Elijah when Elijah had like one offer from like, I don't know, Connecticut or UConn or something.
Okay.
So that was like his second offer was SMU. And he had been to SMU 2-3 times, coach's house, you know, big barbecues, all that stuff. And when Lashley went to the U, he called Elijah the same week, you know, he said, hey, you know, I got to offer you the U. Man, I've been a Canes fan since a long time, man. Since Elijah was born, even. I mean, his room was Canes, right, when he was little.
I love it.
So I went up to his room, filled it up with orange and green balloons, man. And he already had the LSUs, the Alabamas. He had all these offers. That's the only time I filled his room up with balloons when he got the Canes. That was it, man. I was like, we're going to be Canes, man. We're going to be Canes.
I love it, man. That's an awesome feeling. It's funny you say you're in Dallas. I got some family out there off of Malcolm X and Hamburger Drive. Coach got family a little bit everywhere over there by Erykah Badu's theater, man. But yeah, I've been in Dallas quite a bit. I know quite a few people in that area, and they got some good football there, man. They got some really good football there.
High school football is crazy here, man. Like you have no idea. We didn't know because we're from my wife's from Miami. I'm from Miami. We had no idea there was that kind of fan base. You go to a playoff game, and there might be 15, 20,000 people. And the practices, like everything, I mean, you just see it. It's just like they treat them like D1 athletes, all of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when you get to these stadiums in Allen, McKinney, all these big cities here in Dallas, they're spending 50, 60 million on a football stadium at the high school. So
wow,
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's definitely something we never saw in Miami. That's for sure. I went to Miami Killian. So
okay. Hey, so I almost said, but you end up telling me. I would say, man, y'all made the ultimate sacrifice. Y'all moved to Miami to follow your son, but really, this is where your roots are.
Yeah, our roots are in Miami. My wife born and raised in Miami. I went to high school in Miami.
Okay,
We went to UCF, but I never stopped being a Canes fan.
gotcha.
And I always took my kids to the Hurricanes games, winning, losing, whatever. We were always going to the Canes game. And for us, it's just like, man. I mean, I have my garage, I have the weights, everything in my garage, all used. It was all the used for the last 5-6 years. So
Good.
I don't know how it came together, but it came together. But at the end of the day, man, this whole new era with the coach, with Cristobal, it's huge, man. Like people like Elijah, they really took a leap of faith. Jakari Brown. I mean, I met Jakari when we played Alabama in Atlanta,
Okay.
and I said what's up to him and everything. I saw him there, and we didn't look that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's still signed up. And so these kids got to be feeling pretty good now because they took a leap of faith, said, you know what, we're going to do it. It's Hurricanes. We're going to do it.
I love it.
We didn't have a great season last year. You know what I mean? It was okay. Or the year before when they were recruiting these kids. And and now they got it all. They've got some of the best coaches. They got the facilities coming together. So I'm just happy for them, man. Happy for them. Big time.
That's good. Let me ask you this since now I have you on here. Your son, they've done it 3 days. They were on spring break. They're getting ready to start back tomorrow. Am I correct?
They get back tomorrow, and then Tuesdays, I think it's Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday is the actual spring practice. But yeah, they get back to like weight room, stuff like that tomorrow.
So what has he told you? What is the biggest difference, right? And we're not here to knock any program, but there are differences.
Yeah, sure,
well,
man.
what is the biggest difference? Well, what is
positive, man.
what is the biggest difference in
right now is the day-to-day when they're doing strength and conditioning. I think a big thing that he's talked about is that everything they're doing is based off football. So it's how is it going to make a tight end a better tight end? How's it going to make a quarterback a better quarterback? So they're not. And he said, our strength and conditioning say he doesn't want Olympic, weightlifters. You know what I mean? So it's making a lot of sense, and what they're eating is way better, man. I don't know. I saw, Elijah's roommates were Andy Garcia. Were Jake Garcia, Borregales, these kids. When I saw them last week, these kids look leaner. They look more muscle. And they said they're not eating the garbage that they were eating before. Not to knock before. I'm just saying they're eating better. And they look mean and like they look good, man. I'm telling you.
I got you. Let me ask you this part. So as I broke down the portion of Josh Gattis' press conference, and he talked about tight ends, and he brought up your son. Not to put the cat out the bag, but is there any truth to the 12 personnel? Maybe there may be 2 tight ends. Do you think there may be a rotation in there between them, or maybe a packaging of your son?
I mean, just talking to Elijah, he's told me that they are working on a lot of packages like this that kind of emulate what they did at Michigan with a lot of 2 tight ends, But what they say they're going to do, I have no idea. But it sounds like the guy, if you're smart, you play to your strengths, And it sounds like Gattis has an idea of what the strengths are, and he's said a lot of good things about the tight end room. So I hope it gets to that where they're splitting reps between tight ends or using 2 at the same time. But I think those coaches are there to win. Those coaches aren't there to mess around and look for excuses afterwards. I mean, they're getting paid a lot of money. They definitely they don't want to come with any excuses. So if they've got high level running back, they're going to give him the ball. If they got a high level tight end, they're going to get him the ball. I just feel like they're just going to, whoever shows that they're serious in practice, they're going to get those opportunities. And I don't think you have to give Elijah too many opportunities, man. He's going to show you what he can do, So that's a good thing for him.
I got you. Let me ask you this from a parent standpoint for yourself and your wife. As you look at this, and I'm asking you this too for our future recruits, because I'm going to probably chop this up and use this to help our recruit, get us some more recruits. How do you think, from a parent's perspective, how do you receive Mario Cristobal and his staff? Because they didn't recruit him, but their interaction with your son and what maybe he may say about it.
Well, we actually, did most of our recruiting with Coach Fields, who's the tight end coach. And Coach Fields is just a good dude. He's one of these guys who's helping these kids out with personal stuff, with anything. And he's one of the only guys that stayed on staff. From what I understand, like he's one of the few that
I think he's the only on-staff coach that stayed. Coach Fields.
I think he's one of the few, right? I don't know if he's the only one, but it feels like he is the only one.
Yeah, I mean, so far as the 10 coaches, he is the only one that stayed on staff.
And I can tell you why, man. He told us all the right things, but he always told Elijah, hey, you're gonna have to work, and that's what we like, Elijah's never been spoiled. He's always worked for what he had. He always works, puts in extra hours, extra time. The pandemic, he was working out 2 a days, everything like that. So I think he liked that, that Coach Field was about, hey, put in work, put in work. You're going to get what you want, but you got to put in work.
True.
And yeah, man, I think this new coach they're showing South Florida, the University of Miami is showing South Florida that they're serious about football. So you're obviously showing the parents that you're serious about coaching up your kids. You're showing, the fans that you're serious about. You want them to keep buying tickets. So, yeah, no, it's definitely positive. It's definitely positive for parents.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you: do you see a difference in financial things being done at the university from what you saw last year? Do you see the money moving already? I know you talked about the training table and the kind of food they ate, which that tells a lot. And again, it's not a knock, because I talked earlier about, the top brass having to invest. You may have to invest $1 to make $2, but can you see the dollars moving amongst around the campus and through the program and the players?
I see the dollars going into the players' pockets. I tell you that, I can see that. That's happening. Like, I mean, I can't tell you about the facility. I think actually people don't give the other administration enough credit, because those dorms, everyone knew the dorms were terrible, and those dorms actually were built right when Elijah went in. He was the first one. 2021 was one of the first classes to be in that building. And I think that had a lot to do, that's the only people that were in that building were athletes, whether it be girls soccer, football, basketball, you name it. It's a beautiful building, man. It looks at the lake. You got all these areas for studying with ping pong tables, Wi-Fi, It's a legit, residential, student athlete center. So that kind of actually came a year ago. But I don't, I can't really tell you what's new in the facility, but it's not a bad facility. We've been to the LSUs, we've been to the Alabamas, and at the end of the day, the kids are going to spend how many hours in the actual locker room, right? You get 5, 6 home games. It's not, you know what I mean? That's not really, it's just fluff, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, LSU has a lounge chair and you sit in your pod and everything, but how many times you're actually going to be in this home game locker room?
Right.
Not that much. So,
and it's funny you say, and it's funny you say that, because I just said, what does a disco ball in the locker room had to do with winning football games? I said it earlier in the show, and you're just actually making my point. But again, a lot of players, maybe not your son, but a lot of players and a lot of people are me now, right? Everybody has to take, I was at home last week, or actually a couple hours ago, and I went out And man, everybody taking selfie with duck lips. And I'm like, what is going on here in the world? It's a me thing, and everybody making TikToks, And so with that being said, that's just part of the things in order to entice kids to say, hey, I want to come here. Like I say, a lounge chair, I have to be honest with you. If I had an opportunity to lay down and go to sleep, I'd rather go get in my bed instead of lay down in a stinking locker room, which they probably got all kind of ventilation stuff. But I'm just saying, nothing's better than your bed. I don't care what nobody say. You know what I mean?
No, man. And what's really going to help recruiting? Look, when they get recruits, what do? They like Skinner. What do? They pair him with a guy like Elijah, right, for a weekend. They bring him down to the Ritz Carlton in Miami. But what is he going to ask Elijah? He's going to ask Elijah, man, what's it like? You know what I mean? Like what's this thing like? Like, what's it about? So if the players are happy, if Elijah's happy, then these players, you know what I mean? These kids aren't going to lie to each other. You know what I mean? Right. If it's messed up, they're going to say, man, it's kind of messed up,
Sure it is.
They're only going to say what's real. So right now you got these kids, and I'm going to say it. These kids are getting paid down in Miami. They're getting paid a lot more than kids up here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. They're getting paid a lot more than kids up in UCF, Orlando. They're getting deals, So that's going to help big time too, because now they're saying, yeah, it's good. We're getting this, and not only that, but we got this coming in. So I think recruiting, we should be good with that. I mean, you got not only Coral Gables, you got UM. You walk around the campus, it's beautiful. But these players are telling the other players, we got something good going, So I think it's looking real good for recruiting.
No, that's great. I want to ask one question. A lot of people have been asking, and maybe you guys have had opportunity to speak about it. Is the stadium a big deal? Like, to the players? I know maybe to the fan base because we're used to the Orange Bowl, but to these new players who have probably, like your son never saw the Orange Bowl, or he probably, he doesn't remember it. Does that make a difference that they play in the Hard Rock, or do they have to have their own stadium from the players' perspective? Is that something you guys may have talked about?
I don't think it's a big deal, man. I think they actually feel pretty good about playing. Hey, we play where the Dolphins play. Like that's what Elijah would say. He was like, we play in a pro stadium. We play in the Hard Rock. It's a big venue. Right. So I don't see that as a problem. I think business-wise, I've seen the Texas A&Ms, and I've been down there. It's 100,000 people, and each box is worth $2-3 million. Okay.
Wow.
So business-wise, it makes sense to build your own stadium. I know why these business leaders in Miami are talking about building a stadium. It pays for itself. I don't know how many years, but it's definitely a good business, right? So
sure,
you can't do that at the Hard Rock. You can't sell. If Mr. Arroyo wants to buy a box for $1 million, they can't sell it because they don't own the stadium. So
correct.
It's a different business model, and I think it makes more sense for the school. The kids, they're from all over, right? These kids are from California to Texas to Jacksonville, Orlando. They're from all over the place. They just want to play, So sure. I don't think it's a big deal. Not really.
The only thing I'm gonna say, I hate that they did it again, because we all know that Stephen Ross doesn't have any allegiance to the University of Miami, was the fact that they made the whole stadium teal. If they would have left it orange, where both you understand, like when you walk in as the Hurricane, like if you go to any other stadium, the color scheme works. So I get that part, but it's just, that's what I think throws it really off. Now, I like what they've done, the modifications, all this, the renovations that they've done. But when they made everything teal, it was like we separating ourselves. Forget what y'all talking about, you will. You know what I mean? And it's not like you can do a basketball arena like when the Heat go in and they cover all the seats with white or whatever they do to make it look bigger. It was just so much different, because
yeah, you're right. And the seats are teal, and
and it's really teal too. It ain't even like a greenish teal. It's aqua. Yeah, man. So that's the thing that really, from a visual standpoint, it kind of throws it off and makes it feel that way. But I want to ask you one last question before we get out of here. What is it that because here's what I saw when I saw your son get in. He got in some reps last year. I thought he did extremely well. Again, young guy got in, just getting his feet wet. Nothing wrong with that. What is it that you, as a parent, want the fan base to know about your son, whether it's on the field or off the field?
I mean, look, he's a grown man. His work ethic is gonna show on the field. It shows. I was there in Green Tree last Friday. They put on the pads, and I mean, him and Jakari Harvey had a collision. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes were going at it. These dudes were out there to put on the pads, make contact, and show the coaches that they're football players. These kids, they're out there. They got something now to prove again. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's ready to prove himself. Any given time, whether it's on Green Tree, he's ready to prove himself. If it's up here, at Texas A&M playing the Aggies, he's gonna show out. He's gonna prove that that he's gonna earn. He wants to earn what he wants. I think you're gonna see someone who's still hungry. So he's there. I think being a freshman, he played a lot, but I think it was good that Mallory had the big role. The hey, this is our starter, this is our guy.
Sure.
There's a lot of pressure. So I think I think everything's going well for him. I think he's right where he needs to be, and I think he continues to work. And I saw it on Green Tree, last week. These guys it's almost like they're freshmen again in a way that they have new coaches, so they got to prove themselves. So it's good.
Well, that's great, man. Like I said, Mr. Roy, I've seen you in the comment section before. Sometimes you don't know if that's somebody's real father or not, but when you said it, I was like, okay, now because man, look, I done had everybody in here from Michael Vick. It seemed like people be just what they call it, trolling you. So it was a pleasure to speak with you. Like I said,
you keep so positive, man. We appreciate you, man. Like, we listen to you all the time, and yeah, man, it's a real Canes fan. I mean, we're up here, Dallas, with 305. So we die. I mean, we're always gonna be Canes fans, So we know when people are real Canes fans, and I think you got something real positive, and you guys, this is not always perfect. These guys mess up like everyone, and the program has been up and down. But it's just keep it positive. These are young men, So we gotta keep it positive.
I love it, man. Like I say, we don't bash players, but if you can't stop the fan base, that's what they do. And I'm just say this from a former coach to you, and I don't know if your son will see this or you can tell him this. At the end of the day, he does what he does. Go out there and do your best, my man. And that's all you can do. You know what I mean? Enjoy this process, enjoy this time, because before you know it, he'll be throwing a cap in the air, right? With his degree and moving on to whatever his next endeavor, whether it's NFL or whatever the job may be, whatever it may be, man. So enjoy this time. It comes and it goes relatively quickly. Like I said, think about it. It's been a year already for him, just that fast, man. So enjoy this time, man. Do what you got to do. Seems to be a pretty bright guy, very competitive. Get in there, have fun with it, man, and really enjoy it. And we definitely be rooting for him.
I appreciate you, Coach, man. Y'all have a blessed thing. Go Canes basketball.
Yeah, man. I saw that they were up. Somebody said they were up, man. So that's pretty cool, man.
They're up. Yep. All right, Coach.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. You're more than welcome to call in anytime. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
Bye now. All right. That was the father of tight end number 80, Elijah Arroyo. Mr. Solomon Arroyo called in. Has come to find out he's been watching our show for some time. He had the chance to see both of my WRE videos, which is the Watch, React, Evaluate, when he was in high school. That's pretty cool, man. And he enjoyed the positivity of the show, so that's pretty cool. It is currently 8:50. I think Miami Flow and those guys are on. If not, they're coming on. So go over there and check those guys out, Miami Flow, here on YouTube, and have fun with it. We're going to do a lot more things coming up. Don't miss the Coach Me Coach podcast. We come on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Me and Dom Smith, very knowledgeable guy. We're going to talk about all type of things Don't miss out. Just hit the notification bell. You already subscribed, you good. If you haven't subscribed, hit the button. Check it out, man. It's free. Like I say, gas prices up. Coach Hayes giving out free subscriptions. You got to pay all that for gas. Come on, holler at Coach for free. Huh? I just put $111 in my gas tank. Coach pissed off around here. I can tell you that right. $111. You think I drive a city bus? I'm about to go help them people in the war so we can stop these gas prices. They tripping. But anyway, with all that being said, man, I thank you guys so much, ladies. Thank you guys. T. Hines always closing us out. Thank you. You got to call in one day. I keep saying it. You're going to get the urge. You're going to hit that number one day. But with all that being said, thank you all so much for everything. Thank you for following us. Thank you for doing this. Share this out. Have fun. Go check out Miami Flow on a Sunday. Coach about to go get some sleep because I gotta be back to that job. In the morning. So you say you drive a jitney. You shout out, Zoo. Hey. You said I drive a jitney. Y'all know about them dollar jitneys, man, down 27. Y'all cut it out, man. Y'all cut it out. Anyway, I appreciate you guys as always. We'll be here. We got more things coming out. The WREs are coming. Coach working on some stuff. Miss Wilcox in the building. I ain't gonna never forget you, baby. But anyway, thank you guys. I'm out of here. Oh, Alex Tabio. Hit him up. Alex Tabios, our sponsor for the night. Cool dude. Anything dealing with homes, hit him up. Trust me. Even if you think about it, holler at him. And if you're an entrepreneur, you deal with cash, call him. You don't have to have a pay stub. He's got a very aggressive programs to get you in homes. Check him out. Alex Tabio, 305-205-1697, as well as his other information is in the description. Check him out, man. He got you covered. Again, Coach Havens giving out everything free, subscription free, notification bell free, a free phone call to a financial advisor. Come on, man. I mean, man, y'all know what I'm talking about. Coach will holler at you, man. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'm out. Go Canes. I'll catch y'all on the other end. See you at the 50-yard line. Peace.